breaking news for you. I'm shocked, to be honest with you. I wasn't expecting this one. In the last few minutes, Nigel Farage has seemingly lost the support of Elon Musk. The Tesla and ex-CEO has said on his social media platform the following: the Reform Party needs a new leader. Farage doesn't have what it takes. Frankly, a shocking turn. It comes just a few weeks after Farage travelled to Florida to meet with Musk about possible funding for the
Now, a lot of people are saying, because Tommy Robinson, you know, he's a very vocal character on X, they're saying, why won't you allow Tommy Robinson to join Reform UK on it?
Robinson does his own campaigns. Now, he's been in prison numerous times. And by the way, for those of you at home who think he's in prison now for exposing grooming gangs, he's not. He's in prison for contempt of court for the third time. He raises a lot of money off the back of all these appeals that he has for legal challenges. He can do his own thing. We're doing ours. I've made it very, very clear for many, many years I didn't want to have anything to do with him, and that position hasn't changed.
Gloriosa, moderna y profesional. Hoy, el mundo es testigo del servicio que estos hombres y mujeres valientes han brindado.
Hey guys, welcome back to Resistance Chicks. I'm one of your hosts, Michelle. It's Sunday, which means we're going to go all around the world with this week's top news stories, but completely unexpected and out of left field is the breaking news and the top story of today, which is Elon Musk pulling support for Nigel Farage and putting forth backing and support for Tommy Robinson to become leader of Reform. Well, he's backing Tommy. He's calling out grooming gangs. And he's saying that Farage needs to step down as Reform UK leader because he doesn't think that Farage has what it takes, quote unquote. That is the most ridiculous thing that I have ever heard. If anybody has what it takes for Reform UK, it's Nigel Farage. I'm not sure how much Elon has been following the push from Nigel, and I don't think that Elon has his finger on the pulse of people in the UK. Reform UK is doing extremely well. It's taking off, and everyone, even people that were upset with Farage for a while, have come back around, and they're quite happy with Nigel Farage as leader of Reform UK. So we're going to get into that. And then, of course, we've got my favorite South American, Central America, whatever, president, thank you, Nayib Buckele, who is doing so well with his own country in El Salvador that he has decided that maybe Haiti could use some of his help. And I think that that is incredible, and I'm quite pleased with that. If there was a country that I think that Nayib Buckele could help, it would be Haiti, of course. So we're going to get into that. And then Honduras, the president of Honduras, she's kind of a hard-looking woman. We're going to show her in a minute. But she has warned that if President Trump deports Hondurans back to Honduras, that she will shut down the U.S. military bases there. It's quite a threat. So we're going to get into all of that today. But in breaking news here in Ohio and across pretty much all of North America, we have a snowmageddon taking place today and this afternoon. So everybody has been running to the grocery store for their bread and their milk. And I realized something today that we usually keep like salt on hand, you know, like water softener tablets or road salt or whatever to help with like melt the snow on the sidewalks and stuff like that. I don't know that we have any. And I usually have some for my swimming pool, but I'm not sure if there's any out in the shed. So I thought we would be totally prepared for what's coming. We're supposed to get like 10 inches of snow here in Ohio. Now, that may not sound like a lot to like you Canadians and bunch of weirdos out there, but like for us, I don't even know that we got more than 3 inches last year at one time at all. Like it's hit or miss with us. There was the blizzard of 1978 that hit Ohio that my mom tells stories of and Uncle Jack would tell stories of. And in fact, his own sons literally for Christmas, we celebrated our Christmas with our family a few nights ago, got him a shirt that says, I survived the blizzard of 78. The blizzard of 78 that everyone talked about my entire life was only 7 inches. We're supposed to get 10. That's what someone else said.
No, it's 28 inches after inches.
Well, I saw that on a Facebook post.
No.
Okay, Leah's telling me I'm wrong. Hey, your hair's less purple. Did you wash it?
No.
Oh, maybe it's just the lighting.
No, I'm coming.
It looks nice. Let's look it up. Let's see.
No,
How many inches?
The problem with the blizzard of 78, the reason why they call it that is because it kept snowing and snowing and snowing. Mm-hmm. And so at one point there was like 2 feet to 2.5 feet of snow on the ground.
Okay.
And nobody could go anywhere.
Right.
And so it was just a huge, huge big deal. I got like, what am I going to do before I start the show? I'm going to put on my healing oil of joy. I actually love that we keep this here.
So Cincinnati got 7 inches.
It was over several
get that,
days.
but I would like to. Google AI has confirmed
messed up.
what Michelle said.
No, but it's not explaining
What I'm
to you
saying
why they called
is-
it the blizzard of 78.
But I'm saying that I wasn't wrong, and the person that posted that was also not wrong.
They were missing. When you can tell a story like I met an animal and it had fur.
It
doesn't
the
tell you the
blizzard
rest
was
of it.
caused by a rare merger, wind gusts of 50 to 70 miles per hour, snow piled on top of old snow. That's what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And ice deposited by another storm just days before. They're still saying 7 inches. I'm just quoting what's here.
That's not what I know, but they're not telling the whole story. They're not telling you.
Dayton got 13.
So Cincinnati has gotten 7 inches of snow several times in my lifetime. It's gotten 10 inches of snow. We've never experienced what they experienced in 78. Everything shut down. It was absolutely insane.
I want to know what Patriot Gallery has to say about it in the chat.
Yeah, she can put it in there. It was a big deal. I mean, it wasn't just a big deal for
So
Cincinnati.
if it was more than 7 inches, how come there's no historical measurement of what that was?
You're hearing the rest of the story. It wasn't just, it snowed 7 inches. It snowed it snowed snow on top of snow. It had ice.
But you would think that they would measure that, like at one point accumulating a mass amount of, and then that's measurable.
I'm guessing that don't ever trust Google AI. There's probably going to be like Cincinnati stories that go into great detail, because when you see pictures of it, it's not just like, there's 7 inches of snow. Cincinnati gets snow all the time.
What is that?
That is tea, the Queen's tea with raspberry electrolytes.
Whoa!
Because I have found that actually, because we don't drink coffee around here, and a lot of you guys, you drink coffee, you get up, you get these jolts of energy, and I'm like, maybe I should drink coffee because every once in a while I need a jolt of energy. And I found something that I think is you said the other day. Patriot Gallery's been drinking all these electrolytes, and I'm like, what are electrolytes? It's just a little salt, little whatever. I eat salt. But we've got Patriot Gallery's little electrolytes.
But the electrolytes that you bought, these raspberry ones, they have like 1/5 of the sodium that the Relight has.
I know, but I drank it yesterday. It gave me some energy, so I threw it in there.
So we're changing up our routine around here, taking electrolytes, adding the salt and the sodium.
Well, I mean, when you have colds and flus and stuff, there's something about electrolytes. I honestly, guys, it was watching Dr. Artis's show, and he's like, no, you need electrolytes. You need some You know, it's more than just.
But
salt.
electrolytes aren't the same thing as salt.
No, but they do. Yes and no, because they have got Redmond salt electrolytes.
Right. I'm just
So
saying,
it
when you
is-
look at the sodium of just the electrolytes that you bought, there's very little compared to
Well,
like just
right,
so.
there's
But
other-
it's called electrolytes.
Right.
It's gonna be
So,
very
like,
confusing.
It is very confusing because I've been reading the back of all kinds of electrolytes. Some have like 20 grams of sodium. Some have 1,000 grams of sodium. Holy smokes. So like liquid IV is like 1,000 grams of sodium.
It's 500, but yeah.
And then he said to look for the ones that have chloride
yeah.
as well as sodium.
Right.
So if you know, so if you're, let's say you got diarrhea, right? Let's say you do.
This is such a great show. You've come for
You
world
come for
news, and
health-
we're going to
you
talk
come
about
for health
poop.
news. And I just have to. I have to start like this. So this is funny.
You're wearing your turtleneck.
Well, yeah.
We're matching turtlenecks.
I was like, you know what? It's snowing today. It's a nice snow. I'm just gonna wear a sweatshirt to the show. And then I come in and you look so nice.
You
and
went
you've
and
got
changed?
this hair all. You didn't see me. I just had a little
No.
Columbia sweatshirt on, and I was like, I was gonna jump right in on the show, and I was like, you know what?
You know what?
I should not do that. So I want you guys to know that I actually kind of I tried to
You made an effort.
dress beyond a sweatshirt for you people. I don't normally.
That's nice.
It's a polite thing. I'm trying to be polite.
It is polite.
But what's hilarious, so Michelle's hair is very hairy.
Ooh,
It's very-
I did not intend it to do this, by the way, this color.
Okay, so you guys go back and watch the video from last week. Okay, so I have a little hairstyle that I do, kind of take it and go like that, right? This kind of a little poof, right? So I asked Michelle. I said, Michelle,
that.
the
That's
last
nice.
time we did my hair, there was no you got highlights on the side, so you didn't come for this. So like, oh, there's a few highlights here. So she just highlights all over my head, but I said, but I do my little poof. Could I just have a couple highlights here? So I asked for Michelle a few highlights around my head, and then what happened? And we talked about it was funny.
Why Leah's hair's blue?
Well, it wasn't.
I didn't do the blue.
It didn't. It wasn't blue before. It was. It was
like mine.
like an orangey. It was a
like
little
mine.
less it was a little more orangey than Michelle's. It was very more orangey and a lot. And it was my whole head. Like, see, I have dark blonde hair, and I like dark blonde hair. And I just kind of, for the camera and things, just a little few highlights just kind of pops. And just, I do for you people, okay? I put on makeup for you people too, okay? Because it helps.
Trust me, they
actually
appreciate maybe not the
helps
hair so much. They appreciate
to
the
look
makeup.
at people. I understand sometimes. I'm actually working out again, like lifting
Shauna says,
weights.
I think it looks beautiful.
So you put bluing in it to calm it down.
To calm down this color that I have.
Yeah. So I put
It's almost the same color as this
I
horse
put
back
some
here.
put some bluing in it, and when I go past the mirror, I comb my I think there goes the ice queen. The ice
You're
queen.
like, what's the Frozen girl's name?
It's like
Elsa?
I'm like, wow, there goes
You
the ice
have
queen. I
Elsa
kind
hair.
of, because I actually, guys, I cried because it was bad.
It was like
bad.
snot crying.
It was bad. It was like, oh, crazy.
I felt really bad.
Because I just wanted a few highlights. Just like if you go back and watch videos from last week, it's just different, right?
It's great. I think
so.
it looks beautiful.
I just wanted a subtle so that you wouldn't know,
They
right?
know.
So that you wouldn't tell. So
They
that
can
you couldn't tell, right?
Everybody knows.
Now you know because everywhere I go, people are like, "Oh, I like your hair." They wouldn't have said that
like
before. They
it.
actually
They
never say that.
like it.
They never say that about when the highlights come in because you don't notice the highlights because they're just subtle. It's like my mom always says, if you I don't wear the fake eyelashes. We don't do that because it actually alters your appearance. So makeup or hair, it should not alter your appearance so people don't recognize you. People take them fake eyelashes off and you don't recognize them, okay? So I don't wear the fake eyelashes even though they do actually kind of nice. But it's too much, it's too fakery, right? It's just too fake to me. So it should enhance who you are. Altering, I think, who I am into Ice Queen. Actually, it's wearing on me. I was like,
Isn't it nice?
it's like a Jan Crouch feel. I'm feeling it. I don't know if I'm feeling anointing or what, but
Because I don't think you can have hair that's that lit and not have your Holy Spirit bounce. Because you know, like when you used to watch Touched by an Angel, and when their angelness would come out, they would have that.
I know that's what I kept thinking. holy. No.
All right, so let me read a couple of comments here. Hilto says, hi, Hilto. So glad both of you don't look like British mailboxes. LOL. Me too.
I like British mailboxes.
Britt Baza says, do you mean the walking mailboxes, the ones that are black cloth? LOL. He says, yes. I didn't know what you're talking about, black cloth mailboxes. Oh, I know what you mean. Oh, jeez. You know what? That's rude.
Oh, I think, were you comparing to Muslims?
Careful. Watch what you say on the show. Leah Angela wants to know on Facebook, hey, can y'all link the electrolytes? Looking for a good one.
I'm just going to tell you Liquid IV.
Well, that's not just electrolytes. Like the one that you brought down in my cup is one that you just bought recently at
Yeah, but I'm just telling you right off the bat, if you need electrolytes, Liquid IV are the top of the line. They haven't
100 million %.
Like my mom feels different when she takes them. I honestly, guys, I'm still looking for a good brand of electrolytes that might be a little cheaper than Liquid IV. So I found a micro ingredients one that was cheaper but doesn't have as much sodium, so it's not the same.
Okay.
But it did pop. It did, and it did kind of pop my energy up just a little bit. All right, so you know what's strange is that I saw this week Elon Musk started tweeting out about grooming gangs in the UK. Previous last week, which we didn't really cover too much of, was that Elon Musk pumped in millions of dollars into Nigel Farage and reform. Millions. And he is tweeting out about UK politics and was like, the UK needs reform. Right? And so we're like, oh, okay, we're just kind of sitting back and I'm just kind of wondering, I'm just kind of, here's the thing. Sometimes you don't want certain people involved because of money buys you something. Mm-hmm. Influence.
Yeah.
When you, everybody knows this. Even, hopefully none of you have ever done this, but you donate to some sort of organization, then somehow you feel like you now have the authority to tell that organization what to do because of your money, but you donated it. They didn't even ask you for it. You just came out with like, here's some money. And then like a little while later, you're like, you know what? I don't like what you're doing. So he's tweeting out about Tommy Robinson and the grooming gangs. And out of nowhere, by the way, like out of nowhere, like it's not like something new has come up. It's just, here's the grooming. And by out of nowhere, I think it has to do with Tommy Robinson being in prison right now. And he's in prison because of his documentary that he shared that supposedly had libel in it. Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, it's a very twisted, convoluted story because Nigel Farage has been asked about Tommy Robinson repeatedly over the years, and he's constantly distancing himself from him for many reasons. But I've never been able to dial it in on what it is that Nigel has wrong. I understand that he doesn't like his persona or how he comes across, but that's not what he's saying. He's saying he's a criminal and he's a liar, and he actually has been caught with mortgage fraud. Now, I feel like if you say that, you should come with receipts because he's in contempt of court. And we know, like the very first case that got Tommy in prison, we have the video of what he said. There's nothing criminal about what he said. He was in breach of contempt of court because he was talking about the case.
Right.
But Piers Morgan has come out in defense of Nigel and says Tommy's a horrible person. But they don't really say why. They say just because he went to jail. But the UK system, I don't trust the UK system. They're arresting people for thought crimes. They're arresting people for the things that they put on social media. They are stopping people from praying in their minds. What is it? Which you and I know what that means. They know prayer works.
Exactly.
Otherwise, they'd be like,
who cares?
It's like, I'm guessing they would. Do you think that they would arrest some pagan standing outside of a church?
No.
For thinking
right
curses? Are you cursing in your head? No, because a pagan would just lie, by the way.
Right.
No, I'm not. And if a pagan believed that they were actually doing curse.
Well, actually, sometimes those curses work, though.
No, I know, but they would lie about it.
Yeah.
But a Christian can't lie. So how many videos have we seen where you see a person standing in front of and here's the problem with the clinics is that they're birthing and abortion clinics. So you can't even pray at a birthing clinic.
Oh, that's weird. In the UK, they are.
Yeah,
here they're not.
Yes.
Wow.
So if your baby's having trouble, if you're having trouble, I want somebody to pray, but you can't pray?
Yeah.
Like, what is that? I mean,
So what you're getting at, to correlate this back to Elon and Tommy and Farage, is what you're saying is the UK system, when Nigel is saying he's been in prison multiple times, and we'll play that clip again, even though I played it at the start, he's been imprisoned multiple times, that's not necessarily a, kind of litmus test of being a good person.
Yeah, so I don't know where this video is going to go on YouTube or Facebook, but we're gonna cover. I mean, this is news happening right now. So Michelle, actually go to the very first one I just tweeted out. You have all my links up, and I actually just want you to go to Twitter and bring up the one I just tweeted out. This is the strangeness of this world that we're living in, because Nigel has come out against and said, I don't want Tommy a part of reform. That's all he said. Basically, more than that. He said he's a criminal, mortgage fraud, things like that. Now, there are a lot of Nigel Farage supporters who are very upset about this.
This is the one we've played this.
We did?
You want me to pull this up?
Yeah.
Well, we've played this video before.
We'll play a piece of it. We're not going to play this whole thing. This is what Elon Musk tweeted out 10 hours ago.
Okay. He says, thoughts on this video that we have played, by the way.
So you don't have my links yet. Okay.
I'll have it up in just 1 second. We have played this video, and it's actually a really, really good video. And Elon must have just recently stumbled across it. The other thing that I was thinking, as I'm going over this in my thoughts, because this just hit me, right? It just happened today. Is that I don't necessarily agree with Farage's stance of not allowing Tommy into the party.
No,
right?
I don't at all.
And so with that, if Elon found out about that, then it would make total sense.
No, that's the whole point.
I know, but what I'm saying is that's not exactly what you were saying.
No, that is exactly what I'm saying.
You were saying that Elon found out that Nigel won't let
Tommy, and that's why you called for Nigel to step down.
You had said earlier you think it's because Tommy's in prison.
No.
That this was coming to
I
light.
feel like the whole grooming gang thing is coming to light because Tommy. I don't know. People have said it's come out of nowhere, and so then
I'm just saying I think he found out that Nigel won't let Tommy in the party, and Elon being Elon is like, that's not fair, and then he takes a side. So let's play this.
Everything to me. The easy choice would be to stay silent. I look at my country. I've got 3 children. It's my duty as an Englishman to make sure that I hand down a safe and prosperous country to them. They can tell people I'm a figure of hate. They can tell people I'm an extremist. The public don't buy it anymore. Most places I go, I get loved. I get loved by the public because they've tried to make me a leper because I talk about issues that expose their failures. They have failed with mass migration. They failed with integration. They failed with assimilation. The entire British Parliament have pandered and cowered in the face of ideologies that wish to destroy this nation.
Tommy,
Stefan.
good to see you.
Good to see you too, bro.
We've known each other for years.
Yep.
A lot of things have changed. I mean, you were one of the most hated men in this country. You were essentially almost a leper. You were pretty much untouchable. You were considered, the most hated man in the UK. Yet, many of the things that you said, many of the things that you warned about, not everything. There's some things we obviously disagree on. We have different opinions on many issues, but fundamentally, there's a few key things we agree upon, and one of them is that mass migration is bad. What is it that has changed over the last few years in the UK? Say from the beginning of your activism in 2009, with the establishment of the EDL, up to now.
What's
changed, Tommy?
What's changed? I was born in Luton in 1982. When I was born, there was 1 mosque. There's now 45. Yeah? When I talked about issues I saw, yeah? Now the country's seen those issues. So when I started talking about them in 2009, these problems of mass migration, the problems of Islamisation of our country, the general public hadn't recognised it the way I'd recognised it. But Luton is a blueprint for every town and city. Now people have watched, they've seen what's happening, and they can see it themselves. And the perception's changed because people see that, when you say most hated man in Britain, the media have called me that for years, yeah?
Sure.
But most places I go, I get loved. I get loved by the public. So it's always this perception, and they've been very successful because they've tried to make me a leper. They've tried to make me toxic because I talk about issues that expose their failures. They have failed with mass migration. They failed with integration. They failed with assimilation. They have, when I say they, I mean the entire British Parliament, have pandered and cowered in the face of ideologies that wish to destroy this nation. They got on their knees for the Marxists of Black Lives Matter. They cower in fear in the face of Islam. They dare not even speak about it. The cowardice shown, the destruction of this nation and where we're at currently now in Great Britain is because of their cowardice, yeah? And right now, the British public are awakening in a massive way, not just the British public. If you look at the voting patterns across Europe, remember when I started my activism, when we first met, and I started my activism, I think the Swedish Democrat Party were on 1.5%. They're now on 22 to 24%. Gert Wilders is now winning the election in the Netherlands. Yeah, he was banned from even entering this country. Yeah,
sure.
He was seen as an extremist. He was seen as a leper, like I was. Yeah? Everything he said was true. The warnings he gave, he tried to give a voice to the Dutch people about putting them first, about the dangers that can come, especially since October 7th. The whole world has seen the radicalisation, the hatred on the streets of every Western nation coming out of the universities. Look, the best universities in the world are now full of people calling for the gas of the Jews. It's insanity.
Yeah.
It's a level of insanity.
It's
awakened the world, and essentially the people who have lied the whole way through this, which is all of them, which is the mainstream media, their trust has gone, the monopoly they had has gone. They can tell people I'm a figure of hate. They can tell people I'm an extremist. The public don't buy it anymore. Yeah? They do not buy it. Obviously, I was censored. They censored me for a reason, so people don't get to hear what I say. They get to tell people who I am. Well, thanks to Elon Musk for restoring my free speech, because they were given a 6-year reign of lying to the public about me. And now I've been given my voice back over the last 6 months, and the British public have listened to who I am again.
Okay, you can pause that. So this is very interesting. You can go back up and refresh my page. So I just tweeted this out because this is happening now. This is news that is
Breaking
happening.
as we speak.
This is happening. For anyone doubting the severity and depravity of the mass gang rapes of the little girls in Britain, go to the source material and read the court transcripts. I did. It was worse than you could possibly imagine. You, Mohammed Carr, prepared her for gang and blank rape by using a pump. Oh my gosh, I can't even read this. So you guys can see that. About 5 or 6 men. So Elon Musk is tweeting this out. We read cases where a child was doused in petrol and threatened with being set alight. Children were threatened with guns. Children who witnessed brutally violent SA. And were threatened that they would be the next victim if they told anyone. Girls as young as 11 were victims by large numbers of male perpetrators. In 2 of the cases, we read fathers tracked down their daughters and tried to remove them from the houses where they were being abused, only to be arrested themselves when the police were called to the scene. In a small number of cases, the victims were arrested for offenses such as breach of peace for being drunk and disorderly, with no action taken against the perpetrators. Elon says, imagine you are a father going to rescue your daughter from SA and possibly murder, but the police arrest you instead. Now, what has happened over the past several hours is, and I have this one up, Elon Musk has come out against Nigel Farage because Nigel Farage said that he does not want Tommy as part of reform. So Elon says, Reform Party needs a new leader. Farage doesn't have what it takes. It's over. It's one of those. That's already up. Well, this is a surprise, Elon, says Nigel. Elon is a remarkable individual, but on this, I am afraid I disagree. My view remains that Tommy Robinson is not right for reform, and I will never sell out my principles. So then a man named, you can scroll down, named Connor Tomlinson says, Tommy Robinson is a boogeyman to distract from the problems that the political and media establishment has caused.
Person there.
Oh, interesting.
I have Avi Yamini that says, no, you just can't admit you were wrong. Big difference, you arrogant fool.
Yeah, no, that is true. I do have, I do believe I have.
So this is a lot of infighting, and this is where, everybody's calling for unity, which I find really fascinating, because Elon would be kind of the person saying, everybody needs to be unified, and yet he's literally causing division here by pitting Elon and Tommy against one another, and Farage and Tommy against one another, and their supporters against one another.
Yeah, it is. And I don't honestly...
Causing people to choose a side.
So this is Lawrence Fox saying, the minute Nigel Farage tried to reinvent himself as a culture warrior, remember he's been coming out with the music and he's super cool, right? I had a feeling it would be a bad fit. To fight a culture war, you have to have a real understanding of the culture and those who wish to dismantle it, and most importantly, why. Just being anti-immigration isn't enough. Free speech is the cure to cancel culture. That's what this movement needs. Hope, optimism, meritocracy, and free speech, not gloriously canceling those who are on your side. Should have stood up for Tommy Robinson rather than canceled and dismissed a political prisoner in solitary confinement for telling the truth. Now, what Elon is, they actually went back and forth on the prison sentence of, we'll play that in a second, another clip from that, of Tommy Robinson on social media. And Nigel says, I will be in the United States with Elon during the inauguration, and I will fill him in on why Tommy is not a good person. And this is a kind of a strange world that we're in right now. I want to go ahead and play this little clip here.
Already should have been a revolution in this country over the rape and prostitution, torture and murder of our daughters in every town and city. Not just the fact that the Islamic gangs done it, the fact that they knew about it.
They covered it up.
The police forces knew about it. They all let it happen. And they say it out loud. They let a generation of our daughters be kidnapped and raped, and they did not care. We are seen by them as cattle, yeah? And they do not fear us. And when we fear them, that's tyranny. When they fear us, that's democracy, yeah? And we need to, I said, we've sat back. We need to get organised. We need to unite this nation. All we're hearing about is the Muslim vote, the Muslim vote. Well, the Muslims make up 7% of the UK, yeah? We are a majority. We have had enough of mass immigration. No one's asked us, did we want 1 million people imported last year? No one asked us if we want to continually go into war. No one asks us. That's not democracy. No one's asking us the key decisions. Yeah, the key decisions that are affecting us all.
That's
Already
really
should
good.
have been a revolution.
So I do have the tweet up right next to it. Tommy Robinson is a boogeyman to distract the from the problems that the political and media establishment have caused. Douglas Murray says it best. And go ahead and replay it down. No, you can just play it. Here we go.
Now talking about this story and trying to get onto the Tommy Robinson part of it. I can't help thinking it's yet another deflection. Tommy Robinson is a man from a working class background in Luton. There are many things to be said in favor of him and what he's done. There's many things to be said criticizing some of his tactics and some of his words and much more. But essentially, he is one of a quite large number, actually, not to be underestimated, a large number of working class people in this country who saw this happen to relatives of theirs, who had girls in their families who were drugged and raped by Muslim gangs. And when they went to the police, they didn't get any help. When they went to the council, they didn't get any help. When they went to their MPs, generally they didn't get any help. If they organised a protest movement, so-called anti-fascist groups would immediately say, far right, because, of course, if you're working class in our country and you don't like the mass rape of young white girls, you're, of course, necessarily must be a Nazi. All of this was done to make it utterly impossible for anybody to discuss this, and particularly to crack down as hard as possible on anyone who was white and working class and felt voiceless. And instead of giving these people any sympathy or any hearing, most of the media, most of the political class turned away. And I'm afraid what we've been seeing in recent days is one perfectly predictable repercussion of that. You can keep a scandal this big down for only so long. And of course, there are Labour MPs and others at the moment who are saying, but don't you know we've had lots of inquiries into this? Don't you know lots of people have gone to jail? And there is some truth in that. First of all, the inquiries meant very little in the end. They did very little to sort out this problem. Secondly, the number of accusations of rapes, the number of girls in all of these towns who say they've been raped means that the proportion of men who have actually been convicted, often already released, but convicted and went to prison, can only be a fraction of the number of people who actually took part in this obscene sexual crime. And so this sort of idea of like, it's okay, guys, we've got it. It's total bunk. And, you know, I think that part of the thing we've seen in recent days is very reminiscent, and I've written about this again in the past, it's very reminiscent of something that Britain is astonishingly good at, which is avoiding primary problems by trying to highlight people who, as it were, who mention the problem or mention the problem in an inadequate way or in a way that isn't to everyone's taste or more, and then everyone talks about them, and it's horribly reminiscent of the way in which you'll remember that for about some 40 years or so, it was said in Britain that we couldn't discuss mass immigration, legal or illegal, in Britain, because Enoch Powell gave one speech in 1968. And actually, all it was a terrific way for the political class and others to avoid talking about mass migration. They say, Enoch made it impossible. And it's awfully reminiscent, this. People saying, Tommy Robinson made it impossible. That's absolute nonsense. If you have a courageous media, if you have just independent-minded people, if you have councillors who know how to do their darn job, and policemen who are not, as the reports and commissions found out, incredibly scared of being accused of institutional racism, which, of course, has been hanging over the police force for some 40 years now, 30 years certainly. If all these people have been doing their jobs, it wouldn't matter what Tommy Robinson had or had not said. All of this is a deflection. It's always this way. Let's leap at one of the people who has responded to this and say they did it wrong, and then we can keep on not addressing the question. And I think this is a uniquely British vice.
Wow. Well said by Douglas Murray. For those of you that don't know, he is one of the most sound-minded voices in the UK. We don't play enough of him, I don't think, on our show. But I think that he takes a really balanced view of Tommy Robinson. I have a lot to criticize Tommy Robinson for. He's finding God, right? This is a slow process, and he's been doing this. And here's the thing. I don't think that Nigel Farage gives Tommy any respect in the fact that Tommy's been doing this since 2009. Yeah. Lee and I say this on our show all the time. I wear it as a giant badge of honor that we were in this long before most of the big names that you know. Okay, we've been doing this for 8 years. Yeah. And Tommy Robinson has been doing this since 2009. Yeah. Right?
He was right there at the beginning. We were sharing Tommy Robinson videos before it was cool, before anybody else.
But really at that time, in the beginning, he was young, he was naive, he was reckless. Yeah, and he made allegiances and alliances with people that weren't great and unfortunately got swept up in it.
But that's not what Nigel is complaining about.
Yeah.
So this, to me, is coming out of left field. The whole idea that you really think that he is a criminal. Mm-hmm. So that's what they have to bang on about, because we... So here's the question. Did he really commit mortgage fraud, Nigel? And how long ago was it? And has he paid restitution? And has he said sorry for that?
Right. And he's not in jail for that.
But that was the first time he went to jail, I thought, was when he was in contempt. But I don't know. You guys can if you know more about the history of Tommy Robinson, go ahead and put it in the chat.
I do know that he lost his wife over this.
Did he really?
Yeah, they're not married. They've been divorced for years.
That's
for like
really?
3 or 4 years.
Really?
And so, Tommy has in the past been a very hard man. And so I actually understand several reasons why a Nigel would distance himself from Tommy. And Tommy has been quick on the trigger so many times. And it's just like, you just don't want that drama. The problem is, though, when you have a party, you don't really get to just pick and choose who you want in your party. If you know what I'm saying, like Tommy's not a fraud in the sense that like he's pretending to be. He wouldn't be pretending to be reformed.
Well, and if he had said, I don't, he abused his wife or something like that, like you have to come out with facts. Like I would understand. And this is what I do have. I will, if I was to talk to Nigel, I'd say, Nigel, you had a better way to handle this, because if Tommy probably has some major failings, and there are certain lines that you don't cross, and you need to be principled on. But you could have been very nuanced in how you spoke about Tommy.
Yeah,
you could have said, "I appreciate what Tommy has done. Mm-hmm. I may disagree with his tactics." That's all he needed to say. Or you can even say, you can go so far as to say, he has some things in his past that I do not believe are on the up and up. Okay? But then when you say, when you don't give credence to what he has done.
I know. And the fact that the UK people absolutely love him.
This is how I know Nigel's being disingenuous here, with Nigel having some issues too. So I'm not writing Nigel off.
Exactly.
But this is disingenuous of Nigel, because I remember he was asked during the election about Andrew Tate.
Right.
And he more than sidestepped that. He almost danced with Andrew Tate. He smiled and said, well, a lot of the young people follow him.
Right.
He didn't say anything.
He didn't say what he said about, and we need to actually play that clip for everybody that I played at the start of the show. He didn't say what he was saying to the GB News. I don't want to have anything to do with him as far as Andrew Tate. Like, literally, he said, I don't want to have anything to do with Tommy Robinson.
Right.
I'm distancing myself from him. Like, that position has not changed. He did not say that about an Andrew Tate. And that's like, okay, well, wait a minute. Something here with Nigel, it's personal.
You can bring that up. Yeah, so that's what I'm having an issue with.
That's good.
Because Andrew Tate, on a scale compared to Tommy is a choir boy. Tommy is, I don't have it up there, you have to bring it up in the history. Tommy's a choir boy. Right. Tommy is perfect compared to
Andrew Tate.
Andrew Tate is a literal sex trafficker.
Right. He's one of the people that Tommy would fight against, really.
Who has 3 cases now. I was going to tell you guys, a 3rd case has now been opened up against Andrew Tate and Tristan Tate for tax evasion. There are 2 giant cases of sex trafficking and just a mile long of things against the Tate brothers. Plus, the videos about the Tate brothers, there's no redeeming quality to what they say. All they do is parrot. Like Tristan Tate today comes up in my feed and says, "Oh, Poland's a great country," blah 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 blah, and what they do
is they find what people are into, and then they mirror
and that's
it.
what they did with OnlyFans, right? Tommy Robinson was in Luton talking about what was happening there. He was the first. Right. He didn't parrot anybody. There was nobody to parrot. He is the parrot.
Right.
I mean, he's the guy.
Right.
Okay, go ahead.
Very much, Sophia. Right, okay, now we have some live breaking news for you. I'm shocked, to be honest with you. I wasn't expecting this one. In the last few minutes, Nigel Farage has seemingly lost the support of Elon Musk. The Tesla and ex-CEO has said on his social media platform the following: the Reform Party needs a new leader. Farage doesn't have what it takes. Frankly, a shocking turn. It comes just a few weeks after Farage travelled to Florida to meet with Musk about possible funding for the party. The 2 men indeed seem to be very, very close, didn't they? So this has literally just broken, literally minutes ago. We are waiting to hear from Reform. We're trying to get someone from Reform to comment on this, or certainly Nigel himself. A bit of a turn-up for the books. I still have Mail Online reporter Lettice Bramozzi with me and political consultant Emma Burnell. Emma, I'm a bit shocked by this one. It's just come out of the blue, and this, you can see on screen now the actual X post from Elon Musk, as we know Elon is very active on his own platform. The Reform Party needs a new leader. Farage doesn't have what it takes, and that was literally a couple of minutes ago. What do you make of that?
I'm really trying to keep a straight face. I mean, if you live by the tweet, you die by the tweet, is possibly my initial response. Elon, look, I'm going to say the same thing, in fairness to Reform, as I would have said last week when Elon Musk was tweeting about Jess Phillips or Keir Starmer. Frankly, before Elon Musk was a part of the Trump government, he could say what he wanted, he was a private citizen. He is now running a US government department and should be a little bit more careful about constantly interfering in the politics of another country. And while I personally find this hilarious, I also found the stuff about Jess Phillips really scary and worrying, and the stuff about Keir Starmer bloody stupid. But ultimately, when he's a private citizen, Musk can say what he likes on his own platform. As he is now part of an incoming US administration, I would be more careful.
But the thing is, I mean, there's been lots of interference from this country in American politics. Many Labour cabinet ministers had plenty to say about the politics of America.
And look how much they're having to row back on it now. So I would say that it's in terms of, there is what I have massive opinions about what the politics of America have. I don't have any formal role in the Labour Party. I think, it's perfectly fine before you are in government, possibly when you're trying to be the next government, less fine, to have views. But I just think that there is, a difference between Elon Musk, private citizen, owner of Tesla and X and whatever
Starlink
else
and everything. Yeah. But we have
having
interfered.
ridiculous views.
I mean, we had Labour Party members going out there to help.
Yeah, Labour Party members have always gone out to help, and as we also had Conservative Party members.
No, I'm saying it both applies on both sides.
Nigel Farage is almost never out of Florida. I'm surprised that this has happened for that reason.
It's very interesting. What do you make of it, Lettuce?
This is shocking. This is huge news. This is huge news. Simply because, as well, we've been talking about on this show all the time whether Conservatives and Reform, they're going head-to-head. Farage and Kemi going head-to-head. Farage needed that money that was essentially coming from Musk in order to continue this long campaign and this long march. They might get it other ways.
Farage would say it wasn't about the money, it was about the support.
But it would have been a huge inset for them. I wonder if this has anything to do with Musk's recent comments about Tommy Robinson and saying on Twitter that, he's a political prisoner, which is completely inaccurate. Yeah. He's in prison for contempt of court. Yeah. And we've got to remember that Farage actually left UKIP because of their obsession, that he called it, with Tommy Robinson. So whether Elon Musk was trying to force, now this is just my own opinion of this, force Farage to act a certain way with Tommy Robinson, and he's refused. But this is a classic.
Do you think
Elon
this
Musk.
is linked to the Tommy Robinson issue? The fact that Elon Musk is a supporter of Tommy Robinson?
That is really the only thing we've seen outright.
It obviously is. It is 100 million% is. That's what it all. That's the thing.
The Reform UK could actually win the next general election.
Well, if you take our general election score on July the 4th, we're 50% up from that. If we do the same again, we will win the next election. It is not impossible.
Now, a lot of people are saying, because Tommy Robinson, he's a very vocal character on X, they're saying, why won't you allow Tommy Robinson to join Reform UK or let him join the party and be a more prominent role there?
Look, we are a political party that's on the up. We've just gone through 170,000 members. We put in place a rigorous vetting procedure for our candidates, not just for general elections, but for local elections as well, recognising our failings from the last general election. And Tommy Robinson does his own campaigns. He's been in prison numerous times. And by the way, for those of you at home who think he's in prison now for exposing grooming gangs, he's not. He's in prison for contempt of court for the third time. He raises a lot of money off the back of all these appeals that he has for legal challenges. He can do his own thing. We're doing ours. I've made it very, very clear for many, many years I didn't want to have anything to do with him, and that position hasn't changed.
Now, there's been a lot of talk about Elon Musk donating to the party.
Okay.
Is he likely to be donating
But here's the thing.
huge?
What is he in contempt of court for? He's in contempt of court for showing his documentary.
Right.
So people are not being honest here. What do you
Right.
just, he's in contempt of court. Well, we have seen a lot of people in the United States go to jail for contempt of Congress. So Steve Bannon was a political prisoner, and he went to jail because he was in contempt of Congress for not testifying. So that's not a good excuse either. Now, I thought this was funny. Earlier this week, Elon Musk had tweeted out that he hoped that the king would call for a new general election because Keir Starmer needed to go.
Okay.
And he said I hope that he would do the right thing for his subjects. I thought that was funny. His subjects, His Majesty.
So let me get something clear on Elon Musk. I don't trust Elon Musk as far as I can throw him.
Yeah.
So
or one of his rockets.
am not convinced. Yeah, I'm not convinced that his intentions are on the up and up or are to be trusted. Right. So on the one hand, I'm upset that Nigel has thrown Tommy under the bus multiple times, and I've said as much on this show over the years. So when Elon comes to defend Tommy, it looks like a good thing. Mm-hmm. That being said,
the same thing. It looked like it was great when he was going to offer Reform a bunch of money.
So Reform UK is the hope of Britain right now. Okay, we need reform. And reform is doing great. It's doing awesome. We're very happy with the direction that reform is headed in. And then all of a sudden, here comes Elon Musk And he throws this giant wrench in the spoke to cause people to question Farage, to question the party, to pull back their support for reform, which the only thing that does is cause people to retreat back to the Tory party. So I have to judge something by its fruit. I believe that Elon Musk is, he says he's dark mega. Guess what? Elon does not have the best interest of humanity at heart. Elon has the best interest of Elon and probably Satan at heart, okay? And so if he's coming and all I see is him invoking division and getting people to pull their support from Reform UK and getting them to pull the support from Nigel, I do not trust the intentions of Elon Musk. What are you doing? Why are you doing this? We were doing great with Reform UK, and here you are literally lighting it on fire. So I don't trust you for that. Now, Patriot Gallery is now questioning Nigel because of his stances on Tommy, which I totally get, okay? I don't like Nigel's stance on this. I don't like that he was kind of, played footsie with Andrew Tate and the comments on him. And so there's that aspect to be looked at as well. So I think that, for me, there's not a side to be taken here. We're looking at fallible human beings, none of whom are being led by Holy Spirit. Yeah, and so everybody is going to have their own agenda in all of this. And it doesn't mean that you throw that entire person, except for Elon Musk, under the bus. Okay. But what it does mean is there's always more to this than meets the eye. So we need to find the spiritual angle. What is God doing through this?
All right. So you screen share on that. I just want you to go over some of Elon's most recent tweets real quick here. And you can scroll down to, let's be clear. The UK, he tweets out and says, yes. I think that's, let's be clear. The UK leadership allowed thousands of little girls, their nation's daughters, to be abused and gang raped by Pakistani Muslims to protect their policy of open borders and multiculturalism. And he tweeted that out just a minute ago. Then if you scroll down, he tweets out, God Save Great Britain, which says, according to Keir Starmer, girls below the age of consent made informed choices in an email sent to police forces across the country. This man has to go. He's not fit to run the country. Share if you agree. He says Starmer must go. He is a national embarrassment. I think there's more. And then he tweeted out 3 hours ago, the ones we can't even rape, when he described what was happening. And then another one, Tory leader inquiry will expose politicians who covered up child rape gang abuse. Kemi from the Tory leadership says, it was a scandal made possible by the collusion and cover-ups of officials, the police and politicians who were more concerned about community relations than about victims and their families. The fact that perpetrators of this essay appear to have deliberately picked victims because they were white and not from their own community or religious background must not be ignored. Previous inquiries have failed to examine this. It's for society and the state to address the issue.
So he's tweeting out support for a Tory leader.
Good for Kemi with the Tories. So very interesting. Then he's tweeting out 4 hours ago, once again, free Tommy Robinson now. Had you been anyone else, Reform UK would now have disavowed you as that lot, a term coined to define supporters of Tommy Robinson. But you are the richest man in the world. The contempt case against TR was brought by the Attorney General, a political appointment. It is extraordinary for the AG to get involved in a civil action. He is only entitled to do so where there is a matter of public interest. His intervention in the Tommy Robinson case was political. It is also extraordinary for someone to be jailed as a result of civil action. Whether or not one supports Tommy Robinson, the contempt case against him and his incarceration was politically motivated. As you said, Elon Musk, Tommy Robinson is a political prisoner. You were right. When Nigel Farage seeks to explain it to you, perhaps you could point him to this. So then you click on that and you see this conversation happening in real time where Elon Musk is responding to Nigel. I know he's in prison for contempt of court, but there is no justification for such a long prison sentence or for solitary confinement. So these are things. That
was yesterday.
This is just a very interesting conversation. And then if you scroll down from that, if you go back to...
I'm on the same one.
No, you scroll down. If you go back to Elon, just Elon's Twitter.
Okay.
You'll see Maloney here looking an awful lot like a blue-haired Leah.
She's got blue lights on.
I thank Elon Musk for the beautiful words that he had for me and his precious genius for the era in which we live. So that's kind of strange.
And I don't trust her as far as we can
she's in love with him. And so then he tweets out, troubling. According to a review of German crime data, the Pakistani nationals in that country are 4 times more likely to be implicated in SA than children from German citizens. And he tweets that out. And then you can play that.
Like that, now we've even got, what's his name? Keir Starmer, sir. That bastard excused Jimmy Savile. He's the one who signed off and said there wasn't enough evidence. That bastard is going to be the prime minister. So a guy who literally, who signed off and said not enough evidence of the man what we now know, Sir Jimmy Savile, who raped 500, while being greeted by the Queen and, BBC covering. Keir Starmer, is this acceptable? I'll tell you what, I'd rather die in the fight than bow to that crap.
So then if you scroll down, he tweets out, the more you investigate, the worse it gets, beyond what you think is possible. I feel like many people still don't quite understand the level of depravity inflicted on those little girls, or just how young they were. Think of your sister, your daughter, your granddaughter. As a child, picture them. Think of how vulnerable they were. Lucy Lowe, you had 14, 12, 11, 14, 13, 11. They were children. Many of them barely out of primary school, so young and in no way responsible for the atrocities committed against them. Think about the gangs of Pakistani Muslim men think about what they put them through. Now imagine it was your sister, daughter, granddaughter. The Pakistani Muslim grooming gangs plied them with alcohol and drugs, and then, in graveyards. They put them in the back of taxis and drove them to be hurt by 20 plus friends. They dismembered them. Actually, I don't know if you guys remember that when somebody was dismembered and sold as kebab meat. Not going to read the rest. It's just really bad. And this is just a fraction of the abuse inflicted by the ones in Rochdale, Telford, Rotherham. I had not read until just a minute ago some of those more. I read about the kebab. That was enough to make you just want to forget life, okay? Now think about the people meant to protect them. And those in positions of power turned a blind eye. That's what was very crazy about us. They were branded them as white slags, child prostitutes, and other things. They walked in on victims naked and drugged with 20 plus adult men and only arrested the child. They arrested the girls for prostitution and handed them back to the same men that were exploiting them. They added the victims to dockets as co-defendants in their own abuse. They downplayed the scale of abuse. They refused to investigate the reports and paid for taxi rides the girls got hurt in. They silenced whistleblowers like Maggie Oliver of the UK. So that I think you get the idea of what Elon has been tweeting out. Now somebody else says this about Farage. Extraordinary how Farage has managed to fumble this. The media strategy on Tommy Robinson is so simple. Grassroots activists like Tommy have felt forced to step up due to the cowardness of our treacherous political class. In government, we will address all the problems that understandably provoked Robinson, whatever people think about him, into a life of activism. I'm not going to recite mainstream media catechism by pretending that a working class man from Luton is the real boogeyman. The truth that threat lies in Westminster. That's all. It's not complicated. That's it. That's all he needed to say. That's all he needed to say. Okay, and then you can play the one next to that one.
I tell you what's been another successive government failure, and that's cracking down. I'm not going to call them grooming gangs. I'm going to call them child rape gangs. Why? I can't understand this. Why is Labour, of all parties, we're talking about thousands of girls from vulnerable communities in the north being raped repeatedly, often gang raped by largely Pakistani men. Why on earth Wouldn't you have a public inquiry into this? And I know you're going to say, oh, there was an inquiry by Alexis J, and that made 20 recommendations. But the scope of that inquiry was really narrow. All of the campaigners and the whistleblowers in this, Maggie Oliver, Jane Senior and others, have said, you need a public inquiry because this problem is still ongoing. There's been a 10% increase in cases in the last year alone. Why are you resisting a public inquiry?
Well, firstly, we've got to get on with delivering change now. So it is right to say there were 20 recommendations in the previous inquiry. None of those were implemented by the last government.
But Maggie Oliver, the former Greater Manchester police officer who was the one who was instrumental in uncovering widespread abuse in Rochdale, says, and I quote, Sir Keir Starmer is as guilty as anyone over your failures to address the rape gangs when he was Director of Public Prosecutions. He was asleep at the wheel. Maggie Oliver was at the centre of this, and she's been highly critical of the Prime Minister. So you must admit he didn't do enough.
I actually genuinely don't think that's a fair criticism.
Oh, let's see it. Ah, it's a fair criticism. All right. Now you can play the next one. There's been a rift coming between them for days. Elon and Musk here.
Elon and who? Farage.
Elon and Farage.
Tommy Robinson has suggested that you should be the leader for Reform UK. Why laughing?
So can I just start where I'd like to start, if I may, rather than going into who should take over as leader of Reform?
Well, no, that's why I brought you in. That's specific questions and no.
Elon Musk is the richest man in the world, runs businesses successfully. He's got attention to detail. He develops his views, possibly very rapidly, but he's capable of attention to detail and forming a view quickly and putting it out there. There has been a rift coming between Nigel Farage and Elon Musk over the last 3 days, and actually I think your interview with Nigel yesterday was the last straw for Elon. So just to explain to people where the rift came.
Her face.
What Elon said was that Tommy Robinson is a political prisoner. And Nigel came on your show and he said, no, he's not. He's in jail for contempt. And actually, technically, and in all material respects, Nigel is wrong. Because Tommy Robinson was... the charge of contempt was brought by the Attorney General, who is a Labour-appointed political figure. So it was a political individual that brought the charge for contempt against Tommy Robinson. And Tommy Robinson was in dispute over a civil matter. It wasn't a criminal matter. And it is highly unusual for the Attorney General to get involved in a civil dispute.
And put somebody in solitary confinement.
And they're only allowed to do it if there's a matter of public interest at stake. And at no level could anyone say that Tommy Robinson's video that he released, which was apparently in contempt of court, at no level could anyone say that it was worthy of incarcerating him because it was contempt of court. And so at one level, yes, Tommy Robinson was in contempt of court and went to jail as a result of it. But fundamentally, it was a political figure that brought the charge against Tommy Robinson for contempt, and his incarceration was way over the top for a civil judgment. And Nigel came on your show, and he said that, I'll explain it to Elon. Well, actually, Elon, I'm sure, would have read how it was that the contempt of court case was brought against Tommy Robinson, and how Tommy Robinson ended up in jail. And I can't agree more with Elon Musk. Tommy Robinson became the political victim of a narrative and an ideology that has taken hold in this country, where you're not allowed to challenge any ethnic minority, given root through diversity, equity and inclusion, the regulatory and legislative framework which you and I have discussed many times on programmes before. Now, you don't have to be a believer in Tommy Robinson. You don't have to be a denouncer of Tommy Robinson. But you've got to stick to the facts. And Nigel got the facts completely wrong when it came to Tommy Robinson's incarceration. And Tommy Robinson Elon Musk responded to her...
But he is effectively in prison for contempt of court.
Yeah, but that doesn't brought by a political figure.
Doesn't mean that... But both two things can be true. at the same time. One can be that he is in prison for contempt of court, which is true. The other can be that ultimately he's a political prisoner. Why can those two things not be...
But the key point is that it was a politically motivated court case. That's what Elon was saying. Yeah. And I think just one more thing I'd like to say. Elon Musk is someone who is prepared to test the shifting of the Overton window. And it is vital, by the way, that we test the shifting of the Overton window across Western civilization. The reason I'm in politics is because I think that Western civilization, the United Kingdom, most pertinently in my case, faces an existential threat at multiple levels. And it's because of the way we've been governed for 27 years, and we need a 180-degree change in the way that we're governed. We will not achieve the change in the way that this country is governed unless we're prepared to test the Overton window. And Nigel, I'm afraid, has been extremely timid over the last few months in the way that he's gone about progressing reforms progress.
So that is Ben Habib, and is he a part of reform?
I don't know. That's a good question. I do agree with him on many points, and I will say this, that for those of you that don't know, Nigel is now in Parliament. He's a member of Parliament, and if Ben is saying that Nigel has kind of become more timid in the past several months, well, that makes all the sense in the world, because we both know that once you actually get into Congress here in the United States, it changes you. Like, look at all of these people that we thought were going to be our warriors once they got to Congress and once they got into the Senate, which is mostly just Congress. Then they pull back because they are brought into rooms and they are whispered, this is how things are done. And I'm telling you that Nigel, in at least part, has had to succumb to that.
I really liked what Ben said there. He came to a good defense, and he was very logical. And he said, here are the facts. He is the former UK deputy leader, and he said he would...
Former Reform UK.
Reform
right.
UK. He's part of Nigel's party. And he said, I would consider being in leadership, being the leader of it, and I would be steadfast in campaigning for people who campaign for reform and vote for reform. In the pursuit of perhaps sanitizing reform, I think to a significant extent, Nigel Farage is turning his back on the people who created reform in the first place. And you're going to have some kind of icky people in any party, and to kick them out and say you can't even come and join is very strange.
Right.
So, I'm going to play this because he says, I'm going to retweet this. He says, anyone who cares about Reform UK must watch this video by Reform stalwart, Reform UK Dudley. Reform UK Dudley interim chair and 2024 general candidate. Andrew is one of the best. Someone Reform should be promoting, not setting aside. Andrew's not alone in the way he's been treated by Reform.
Good afternoon, everyone. I thought I'd do a piece to camera following the post that I made yesterday. When the news broke that Marco Longhi, my former general election opponent, had defected from the Tories to join Reform UK as a member on Friday night, I found out in the same manner as everyone else. I had no forewarning, let alone an opportunity to comment on his recruitment. I entered into politics because I recognise that the United Kingdom is heading down a perilous path and needs a 180-degree change in political direction. Reform UK were only polling around 4% when I began working the seat of Dudley, and we managed to achieve a result of over 26% in a tight three-way marginal. During my campaign, my former opponent acted in a manner that I would go as far as to describe as contemptuous towards Reform UK, disparaging people from voting for Reform, and since the election many of his social media comments appeared to blame me and the party for him losing his seat, also stating that he did not see what good Reform would do with only 5 MPs. Also, if you'd like to search Andrew Southall, The Telegraph, you might find an article of interest. I therefore have to question the motives of former Conservative MPs coming across now that various seats in the UK are now turning turquoise in the latest MRP polling.
That's the colour of
Reform.
Reform.
I posted about being the case in Dudley only last week. Whilst I'm not alleging that anything has been offered to Marco or other defectors, I think Zia and or Nigel owe the grassroots and the membership an answer to the following question. Are favourable seats being offered to Tory defectors as a nailed-on promise? We've been told that branches will be able to vote on who their candidates will be in selection meetings. Whilst we are potentially some time away from the next general election, the question applies in both the case of parliamentary and council seats. The Constitution and Rulebook are not quite the finished articles in my opinion, and we need these details to be established. There are many people who are now branch chairs who are close to winning their seats as PPCs in the last general election, and they will be doing all of the donkey work on a grassroots level. I'm sure they will want to know that the selection process will be fair should they want to stand again. The grassroots actually are indeed the engine room of the Reform UK movement, and many of their current projected seats for reform have been campaigned in heavily by those who believed in the movement from the start. My second question is, given that the Tories were absolutely woeful in 14 years of government, with many of their MPs having voted along party lines for much of the legislation that ails us today, or they stayed quiet or even worse, promoted the following things: net zero, the COVID pandemic response in its entirety, the war in Ukraine, activities of the World Economic Forum and adjacent organisations, controlling immigration, the rape gang cover-up, and many more. My question is, are Reform UK scrutinising defectors for these things? And if not, why not? The People's Army is a phrase that should have meaning, not the Tory 2.0 army. I say everything in this video as a staunch supporter and member of Reform UK who wants the best for this country. Thank you.
So, I think even Sherry said it a little bit ago in the chat. She's like, our government is no better. I want you guys to put into comparison here. You're seeing something, and I think it's spiritual, that is happening in the UK that is also happening here in the United States. We have this party, mega party. We didn't get a new name, okay, but it's essentially a new party, the mega party, which is, Trump's party. And it has split down the lines, and we've been watching Donald Trump do this. So on the one hand, you can be, I find it a little bit odd for Elon to be criticizing a Nigel Farage for not taking a hard line enough stance, or even, some of these people calling out a Nigel for, some compromise and bringing along some Tory members that are willing to defect and come onto Reform UK, when everyone looks at Trump and they're like, Trump can do no harm, no wrong, no matter what he does. He's literally supporting Mike Johnson as Speaker of the House. He has, in his cabinet picks, he had so many opportunities to choose people like a Thomas Massey, and time again, Trump is choosing establishment rhinos for his picks. And he's taking these positions that are pulling the Republican out of the Republican Party and turning us more into, neoclassical liberals. And so I'm sitting here and I'm going, well, okay, so you want to criticize Farage, but Trump is doing the same thing and worse, honestly. So, like I said, I think that it's spiritual. I think that the devil is getting both of these parties to compromise because the devil is afraid and scared because of we the people, whether it's in the UK or here in the United States, where we're rising up and we're saying, you know what? We can take back our nations. We can take back our country, and we're doing it. And so you're seeing all of this infighting, and I want you guys to understand this. Please try to take a little bit of a hands-off, bird's eye view of this instead of being in it and feeling all of the emotions and frustrations and trying to take a side, and recognize that the only answer that is going to achieve what we want is going to be the one that comes through the power of God, which Nigel doesn't have, Tommy Robinson doesn't have, Donald Trump doesn't have, the Tory party doesn't have, Reform UK doesn't have yet.
You can identify a problem, but if you don't identify the source of the problem, what is the source of these Pakistani grooming gangs?
Satanism.
It's the devil. It is darkness. It is evil. and you have to combat evil. You can't combat evil by just locking it up. Evil will continue to expand. I mean, what are you going to do? Get rid of all the Pakistanis in your country? You can only hit it with the power and the love of God, right?
So let me read some comments over here. On Rumble, Britt Baza says, Ben Habib was deputy leader of Reform, but he has a beef with Farage because he was demoted to deputy leader due to the fact that he wasn't voted in as MP, which is a legal requirement under UK law. Yuri says Trump is more Israel first, not America first. That seems to be that. Patriot Gallery says, PG here. AI speaking to him to nip this issue in the bud or take control over the text. I was immediately taken off of Gitter and YouTube. Our stream ended. That was from Friday night show. Barry says Musk needs to butt out of our politics. Obama interfered and got short, sharp thrift from the British public after he told us to remain in the EU. Leah and Michelle, these girls were in state care homes, so had no choice about their fate. The state was effectively the legal parent, and social services were responsible for them. The social services and local government let them down, along with the police and politicians of all colors since 2000. Very well said.
Okay, Michelle, let's play this one. I'm a father of 2 daughters, and this grooming and rape gang scandal makes me not only upset, but angry. It should be the one next, but if it's not, we'll go. Yeah, there
it is.
Biggest scandal that this country has ever seen. Young girls not just groomed, but raped. Now, I'm a father of 2 daughters. I couldn't tell you what I would do to people that ever tried this with my daughters. This is so horrific, and the fact that communities were not coming together and ending this is also a scandal. Now, there's reports of hundreds of thousands of victims, possibly. That is shocking. Now, one thing I would like to say is if it wasn't for people like Tommy Robinson and Maggie Oliver and some other whistleblowers, we would not know the true extent to this. So it's great that people like Elon Musk are now putting this to the world, because we need to go down every avenue to find out who facilitated it and why they did that.
So that's the key here. You wouldn't know about it but for Tommy.
Right.
Why? You have to give him credit for that. You have to. And listen, so far, what people are saying about Tommy, nobody has brought up something that is that bad.
Right.
So I don't know what happened with his wife. I don't know what went down there. Bring it forward.
That's just personal stuff, though. I don't think
you
that's,
don't know. But
like,
it could have been. Like, I'm just saying, like, if something is really bad about Tommy, bring it forward. I have not seen anything.
If you were his wife, would you want him to continue what he was doing and constantly going to jail, and like she was threatened? I think that doing any of this stuff is going to take its toll on a marriage.
Yeah.
That I don't think is like a thing.
So the next video here is who they were talking about, Maggie Oliver. She is, if you've seen, they actually have a couple documentaries out on this, and somebody said that the BBC has taken them down.
Oh, wow.
Over all of this.
Wow.
So this is Maggie Oliver, who she's the whistleblower, the very first one.
Joining us now is Maggie Oliver, a former detective constable with Greater Manchester Police, who became a prominent whistleblower after exposing her own forces' failure to properly investigate the Rochdale grooming gang scandal. Maggie resigned from the police in protest and has since become a tireless advocate for the survivors of sexual abuse, and of course has founded the Maggie Oliver Foundation to support victims and campaign for change. Maggie, thank you so much for joining us today. It was a pleasure to have you. Of course, your words are splashed all over the Daily Mail today. You claim Keir Starmer is as guilty as anybody. And I know our audience really want to know from your perspective, how have you come to that conclusion?
Hello, Alex, and thank you for inviting me on the show. Let me say, first of all, I didn't expect that to be on the front page of the Daily Mail. It was something that I said on my Twitter, but I do stand by every word. I mean, this topic has haunted me for really 20 years now, since I first worked on Operation Augusta. Now, in 2000, I was very naive back then, but in 2005, Greater Manchester Police closed down a live investigation where we had 100 paedophiles on a database that we knew would abusing dozens of children. My husband was terminally ill, and I went off work, leaving a fully all singing, all dancing, live major investigation. And when I came back to work after he died, the whole job had been closed down. Not one person prosecuted, and it left me traumatized. But I was very, very naive in that back then. I am not naive now. I've had 20 years of learning. But in 2008, I know that when Keir Starmer was the Director of Public Prosecutions, Gordon Brown was the Prime Minister, and a circular was sent out to all Crown prosecutors and police forces, telling them that this was a well-known problem amongst the Pakistani Muslim community, that young white children were being groomed or and raped on a daily basis, and that they should do nothing about it. So if the direct, and yet we're talking about 11, 12, 13-year-old white vulnerable children, often from difficult backgrounds, and the law in our country says you cannot have sex with a 12-year-old child. And if the Director of Public Prosecutions is instructing police forces and Crown prosecutors not to prosecute, I say there is no higher authority in the land. He should be leading by example, and we don't cherry pick which rapists we prosecute. You know, I don't care where an abuser comes from. It just so happens that this kind of abuse has landed on my doorstep. But I don't care if it's a priest in the church, if it's the Church of England, if it's Jeffrey Epstein, Harvey Weinstein. I honestly do not care who that
there. So I went to Maggie's page, and I guess a Sky News interview had said that this was a problem of the past. And she said she shares a story of a brave dad and daughter. And that brave dad says, only 2 years ago, my daughter was groomed in Rochdale. Myself and Scarlett treated like criminals. She was actually arrested and bailed for the intent to supply Class A drugs because her groomer was a drug dealer. She wasn't charged, but bailed for 12 weeks. Nothing has changed with the Greater Manchester Police. Grooming is worse in Manchester than it has ever been.
Wow. So essentially, this is we've talked about this on the show for 8 years. I mean, we have been covering the Rochdale grooming gangs and Rotherham and all of that for literally 8 years on this program, and nothing has changed. They are still covering up these crimes. They are still not just allowing. And so here's the deal. When you allow, quote unquote, these people to continue these practices in the UK, you are a part of it, which means the police force and these prosecutors are part of the grooming gang. Because there's no other explanation. Like, they have to be a contributing perpetrator in this instance, because anyone else would be doing their job.
Yeah.
Full stop.
Yeah.
So this is, I'm actually, so on the one hand, I'm really upset that Elon is doing this. Okay. I'm glad that he is exposing the grooming gang part of it, but I think that unfortunately it's taking the wrong turn. Because instead of just exposing the grooming gangs,
now it's about Tommy.
Now it's about Tommy, and now it's about Nigel, and now it's about pitting the two of them against one another and their supporters against one another. And it's becoming this just kind of, and what it does is it takes the eyes off of the actual thing that you wanted to bring attention to.
Exactly, the grooming gangs. The grooming gangs. And I feel like both Nigel and even Elon have done that. And I do believe that Elon, the way I see him is as a dark tornado.
Yeah.
He comes in as like some sort of angel of light. And even if he, let's pretend like he meant well, everything he touches spins out of control.
Yeah.
Now this is a video. This is a UK. The UK is a Muslim conquered country. This is the Marble Arch in London. So the UK is a Christian country. The fact that they are dressing children like this is insane. This is for Palestine, I'm guessing.
Wow. Like, how do they get permission to roll out those red carpets?
I can't even. Look at
And to
these
see these children like dressed completely head to toe in these like burqas and hijabs and whatever.
That should be illegal.
Yeah.
That has to be illegal.
Right.
That is illegal. That is illegal. That is inciting
That's
hate.
disgusting.
That is inciting hate.
Yeah.
That is inciting violence.
100%.
That is inciting violence.
Yeah.
That is inciting violence. And worse than that, those children need to be taken from their parents.
Yeah.
That is child abuse. That is straight up child abuse, using children to incite violence, incite war. Let's not mess around with what that was. Let's not pretend that that was some sort of Hindu religion where they're just, down worshiping one of their, Maharishi gods. That's not what that was.
Yeah.
That's not what that was. That was in direct response to October 7th. It is in direct response. And I know you all say, Israel and every blah, 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 blah. I don't care. But here's the thing. That is a group of people who want war. And that was a call to violence. And we know this because there was a man with an ISIS flag who, guess what? We're not talking about the terror attack the United States had. Suddenly, that's been memory hold, and we are all talking about Tommy Robinson, God love him, and grooming gangs, which is important, but they are connected. They are connected with a guy with an ISIS flag growing over and killing 10 people in New Orleans and injuring a bunch of other people. And you know what I've noticed on Twitter? Everybody wants to talk about Matthew. I think now I know his name. We don't know. I don't have the last name of. I don't have the first name of the terrorist. And then, because in the beginning I tweeted, I posted on our Facebook, we need to close our borders. The only thing people can say was, get your facts right now. He was an American citizen. I'm leaving it up because that was my initial response, and we do need to close our borders, so that's a fact. But your response to 10 people being killed is to try to fact check me and said, oh yeah, it was horrible. Yeah, we need to do something. Yeah, how did he get, why was he an American citizen? Why was he in our army? Were there no signs that this guy hated our country and hated people in it?
Right.
At all? That he would be radicalized by what's happening in the Middle East right now? And when you see these young children, what you're doing is you are inspiring the man who drove through the New Orleans people and the German car attack. Michelle caught me. Leah, cars don't attack people. Well, if you're driving a Tesla truck, it seems like they do. Go ahead.
So in the New Orleans attack, I'm going to put the attacker because that's what I wanted to look up. Where
is he from?
Everyone wants to, they're coming out immediately and they're saying he's an American citizen.
But how long has he been one? Was he born here? Were his parents born here?
What is going on? I'm failing here at what I'm doing. Here he is. Okay. He is supposedly an American citizen, American-born citizen that was in our army, and he's a veteran. And so I'm going to just be honest. When you say that without showing his picture, without giving any kind of like backstory, okay? His name is Shamsud Din Jabbar. So when you say American citizen, when you say U.S. Army veteran, that is not what image that you're evoking in my mind, and that's on purpose. Like, they're deliberately trying to insert a narrative into your head that's not true, okay? So, yes, Leah, I'm with you 100%. What has happened is, in this era of, it used to be when something big happened, we percolated on it and we sat on it and we talked about it for a couple of weeks. But people are in this news high cycle where they want to jump to the next thing, to the next thing, to the next thing, and everything gets memory hold. instead of stopping and going, wait, how are these things related? So the Matthew Levelsberger, whatever his name is, the guy that supposedly blew the Tesla truck up in front of the Trump thing, that whole thing is a complete scam and fraud and not what you think that it is. Okay. And we could do a whole expose on just that and get Corey Terry on and talk about it. And it's a very deep rabbit hole, and the entire Green Beret community is digging deep into this. I'm not convinced that this Matthew guy actually did that bombing. And Elon Musk came out and said, well, these Tesla trucks can't self-drive unless the driver is awake, well, and attentive. If your eyes are open, that would actually work. And I've gotten several testimonies from you guys since we did our show on Friday. In Arizona, people see driverless cars all the time, and the passenger is in the back seat. So don't give me that garbage, Elon. Number one. So we've got 2 attacks that happened, okay, in the same time, and it all boils down to radical Islam, which we used to not be able to talk about on YouTube. I don't know if it's going to become one of those things that gets flagged again. I don't know.
Here we go.
Okay, but at the base of it is that. Now, Leah, you said to me, as a little bit of an aside, and then we're going to get back to the story at hand, that the prophet that prophesied prior to Trump getting shot in the ear, that Trump would get shot in the ear, he also prophesied something else that came to pass. And then you said that recently he came out and he prophesied, all these sleeper cells or something?
Mm-hmm. There will be 100 attacks or something this year.
I remember Corey Gray was talking about it for a while earlier this past year. I'm not sure one way or the other where that's going to go, but I do want to say emphatically, there 1,000,000% are a massive amount of sleeper cells in the United States.
So from what I could find on the internet, just in a quick cursory glance, was that I'm going to play that next. His parents were both American citizens. His mother was black. His eyes seem blue, aren't they blue? So it's like, is his father white? His father's name was John something before he converted to Islam and changed his name to Jabbar or something.
Wow. Okay.
So we don't have a picture of him, but it looks like he's of mixed race.
Well, I just
some
had
sort.
a picture up.
Oh, but his dad.
Oh, his dad. Okay.
Of what is, because his mom is white, but that guy, because he looks Arab, and you would think with his name he's Arab, but it seems like his mom might have married a white guy, even, who just became Muslim, which would be very strange.
Right. Well, what I was getting at is, yes, there are sleeper cells. Whether the prophet's right or not, I don't care one way or the other. They are here. They've been here for years, okay? And I have had, my best friend's grandparents lived next door to...
No, his eyes aren't blue. They're just like a hazily.
That's what I said, Hazel. Lived next door to kind of a sleeper cell family of and they said it was really scary, that they were weird people. This is happening when you go to, like, we've got towns like in Tip City and in different areas where the Muslim community is really coming in and in droves, and it's building. And so I don't know where that goes, but I do know this: they don't have Jesus.
Yeah.
And their intent a lot of times is demonic. So what does that mean for us in the body of Christ? It's very simple. Our founding fathers already went through this. You defeat evil with the power of God. It's not enough just to expose it. It means that you and I need to be on our faces before God daily, so that if and when these types of things come to our community, we stand and we say, no, you shall not pass. You must get thee behind me, Satan, and you must leave, because we're not going to fix this with politics. You're not going to fix it. Everybody wants to keep all of these people from flooding in from South America and flooding into the UK from, wherever. Yes, we need to do that from a logistics standpoint, but the spiritual doors are open that are allowing this to happen.
So this is what I don't understand. Peter Sweden says 250,000 young girls were
raped.
How many people are in Luton and in the mansion? Like, how many young girls can there be? It has to be like 1 in every 10. Like, this is I just, that's an incomprehensible number. If it happened once or twice, like think about your neighborhood. If 100 girls went through SA in your neighborhood, like 100,
right, that would be huge.
But these are basically like, you know, little neighborhoods, and it's like all the little white vulnerable girls were abused.
And I know you guys are probably getting tired of us talking about this, and we're going to move on here in a little bit. But
it doesn't like how many citizens, like this, the number.
So Leah, we have something that's interesting. A lot of our poorer neighborhoods are Black communities. It just is. Like, you're going to escape it. That's just the tragedy of the United States. But what that does is that makes us kind of think that a place like Luton, where they have a lot of poor people there. They have a lot of, you know, just really trashy communities. And so what they're saying is these Pakistani grooming gang men are preying on these little girls who come from unfortunate backgrounds, right? And so in the United States, I want you guys to just be able to paint a picture. Imagine that this was happening in our Black poor communities, okay? That may give you a little bit of a better understanding as to why it's being overlooked and no one cares, and they're not willing to do anything about it.
Yeah.
Does that make any sense? Like, because it's difficult for us to fathom poor white communities in the UK. It just doesn't really make sense. So when you hear of Luton and you hear of all this, you just think, oh, it must be happening in some upper middle class community if they're just targeting white people. It's kind of a racist mindset to even begin with.
Yeah.
It's happening in poor communities.
Right.
It's that simple. It's happening in these poor communities.
So I'm going to switch a little bit here, and we're going to go. I don't know if we played this one or not. I know we played some similar, but we're going to move on to some humor here, some British humor. We're all far right now. I think we've played this before, but we are going to play this again to kind of lighten the mood.
Polite and smart and punctual, it once was good to be. You answered for your actions, and a woman was a she. You'd stand up for your people, if needs be, even fight. But now, if you uphold such values, then you are...
All right.
Oh, we're all far right now, we're all far right now. Peterson, Rogan, Shapiro, E-I-E-I-E-I-O. We worship Mussolini, his portraits in the loft. Must save Twitter, Heil Hitler, we're all far right now. Oh, you say you're in the middle, a moderate individual, a Gladstonian liberal. You once laughed at Donald Trump, you're probably a fascist too.
Have you got it memorized now?
There once was a great speaker called Martin Luther King. Said character's what matters, not the colour of your skin. But conduct doesn't count now, just your identity. If you should ever question this, you're racist, obviously. Oh, we're all racist now, we're all racist now. Off to the gallows we must go, E-I-E-I-E-I-O. Worse than Winston Churchill, worse than Enoch Powell, Ku Klux Klan and Jimmy Fallon. We're all racist now. Oh, the countryside is racist, dogs and cats are racist, eating meat is racist, Black Lives Matter's even racist. Do you know what's also racist? You. Found out I am dyslexic. I thought I was just thick. My son, he is dyspraxic. I'd presumed he was a dick.
Black. Sorry.
My girlfriend is bulimic.
Is there any more?
My mate's got OCD. My mother is bipolar. That gives me anxiety. Oh, we're all mental now, Nutty as a fruitcake, demented and deranged. Cuckoo, psycho, wacko, loco, we're all mental now. Oh my, what is coming next? What is coming next? What is coming next? Oh my, what is coming next? We're probably all pedos too. Dirty little pedo, hanging around the Lido in your little speedos, far right.
Wow. Oh my gosh. That was a nice commercial break to transition.
Yeah. All right. So I thought that was funny. Also, Elon is getting a little bit of shade here from the Epoch Times because Elon has weighed in on the Taiwan issue with China, saying from China's standpoint, you know, maybe it's like analogous, maybe it's like Hawaii or something like that, like an integral part of China that is arbitrarily not part of China, mostly because the U.S. Pacific Fleet has stopped any sort of reunification effort by force. Elon Musk appearing remotely at the All Summit in Los Angeles in September, referring to Taiwan. And the Epoch Times just tweeted this out January and says, sorry, Elon, you are 100% wrong on Taiwan. Elon weighing in on big matters like that is just kind of crazy. Now, Nayib Bukele's country, and we're gonna spend a little good news. Would you like some good news?
I love good news.
Would you like to hear? Let's talk a little bit about El Salvador today.
Love it.
And the godly transformation, which Nayib gives glory to God constantly, but he also is very funny.
He is.
He is, and he tweeted out today the most the country leaders that are the most popular, and with their voters, and at the top with 91% approval rating is Nayib, and he tweets it out and he says, "It's lonely at the top."
That's awesome.
I know. Now, somebody took the fact that Haiti is getting some help from both Guatemala and El Salvador to help their major problem. Like, Haiti is not a country right now. It doesn't exist. It's, if you didn't know this, it's overrun by satanic, literal witchcraft gang guys who like eat people and cannibals. Like, it's weird. Haiti itself is a center for voodoo and witchcraft.
100%.
And those who are running it now are, you know, on the side of Satan. They need to be cleansed. And so what I'm hoping is with the El Salvador military coming, that they come with the power of God. Now, we're playing this with a little snippet on the bottom that says Salvadorian troops join mission to tackle Haiti violence. But this is a almost like a propaganda ad or commercial, you could say, praising the El Salvadorian military and how great they are.
And we'll turn it down and so I can read the subtitles. Turn it up a little bit.
Gloriosa.
Glorious. You guys got that one. Modern. You probably got that one too. And professional. You probably got that one too.
Professional.
Today, the world bears witness to the service that these brave men and women have offered. After facing and defeating thousands of terrorists, El Salvador has been transformed into the safest country in the Western Hemisphere. We will defend the peace and sovereignty we now have against all threats. On our bicentennial, we reaffirm our commitment to the Salvadorian people. We will defend our homeland, even if it means giving up our lives. The armed forces will live on as long as there is a republic. That's good.
All right, so I'm going to play this next clip of Buckele talking about his country here.
Okay, hang on. Let's start over, turn them down so we can read the subtitles here. And they said, and I quote, you know that you can't eliminate crime all at once, right? And I said, why? They told me it's not a lack of technical capacity, it's the hit that the economy would take. And I asked, what hit to the economy? How many gang members are there? And I said 70,000. That's like 70,000 jobs. Because those people who are earning money through illicit means, which is bad, but that money goes to their households, and it is spent legally. Those households buy diapers for their babies and food for their children. They pay rent for utilities, phone service, cable, internet, clothes, drinks, beer. Then they buy motorcycles and gasoline, mobile phones, airtime, etc. All of that economic activity will fall at once without a legal parallel economic structure to replace it at the same speed. So he told them, hang on, sorry. So he told me back then, you need to stop crime little by little, so that little by little you can offset that criminal economy. These are the kinds of theories that sound good to intellectuals, but don't apply in reality. The reality is that crime is crime, period. And if you allow it, they will always win in the war of incentives. Because if a young man comes along and says, I don't have many opportunities, I think I'll sell tomatoes at the market. Selling tomatoes at the market is going to be tough to start. It's not any fun. It's not something I'm proud of. I have to go carry the tomatoes and sell them all day under the sun at the market that maybe isn't in good repair. Some of those tomatoes are going to spoil, and the product isn't even mine. I'll probably be selling, what did he say?
Consignment.
Thank you. If they go bad, I'll have to pay for them. If I finally sell enough, I'll earn $5. Then on my way home, a gang member shows up and says, give me my $5. So the incentive is for this young man to be a gang member and collect those $5 rather than selling tomatoes, to maybe earn $5 that he'll then hand over to the gang. We'll never be able to win the war of incentives. We found out the hard way that the only choice was to go after the gangs and arrest them. Not to punish them, but to remove them from society. They have to be out of the equation. They can't just show up to collect. So that young man now thinks about his new incentive and says, what should I do? Should I be a gang member and end up in prison? Or should I get to work and earn money that nobody will take from me? Now he can even get himself a girlfriend because she'll see that he isn't a gang member. The point is that now the incentive structure is right for society. So I answered this person from the lateral agency. We understand that we'll pay an economic price for eliminating crime. But I share the analogy of a cancer patient. If they tell me you have a serious metastatic cancer, but it's curable, we'll need to do several surgeries. Chemotherapy, radiation, and immunotherapy. And after it all, you'll be in bad shape but healthy. You can gain the weight back and recover. I would choose that option. I would undergo the surgeries. I would undergo the chemo and the radiation and the immunotherapy. I'd be in bad shape, but I would recover. The alternative is to say, no, I won't do anything. I feel okay. It's not too bad right now. Well, the cancer will eventually get the best of me. So we accepted that. We would pay an economic price. And our calculations, not from our financial cabinet, but from within our security cabinet, were that we would have a cost of 10% of our GDP. Our GDP would fall by 10% to eliminate crime. But our GDP didn't fall by 10%. It grew by 3.5%.
Ah, because that's what happens when you eliminate evil. All right, here's the next one where he calls out George Soros at CPAC, or at Turning Point, or CPAC, I think. But it's in English, so you can just play it.
Who elected Soros to dictate public policy and laws? Why does he feel entitled to impose his agenda? Let me tell you something. Soros and his cronies hit a brick wall in El Salvador. Thank God, another glory be to him, Salvadorans are now immune to his influence.
That's good.
No one believes his lies anymore over there. Who elected Soros? To dictate
Glory to God. All right, the next one is where you'll see the tweet where he says it's lonely at the top. World leaders approval rating.
You know who's below him, though? This is so hilarious to me. Putin.
I don't know if that one is exactly accurate.
That's kind of what I was wondering.
What if it's
what
even
if it
close?
is? I know.
What if it is above 50%? What if they really do like him there?
So Modi obviously is next. That makes sense. Javier Milei totally makes sense. I find that Donald Tusk is really funny to me. That's even on the list. And Joe Biden way down near the bottom. Actually, below Joe would be Keir Starmer, which is great. And near the very bottom is Emmanuel Macron at 18%. Wow. And Justin Trudeau also near the bottom.
Well,
there.
and then South Korean president, I think it's just been ousted. All right, Buckele delivers. This is the next one. El Salvador homicides dropped to record low. So El Salvador hits historic low of 114 homicides in 2024, down from 6,656 in 2015.
That's huge.
Buckele's tough approach dropped the murder rate to just 1.9 per 100,000, making it the Western Hemisphere's safest nation. Citizens who once lived under gang terror now feel freely to walk their neighborhoods. The dramatic turnaround came after Buckele's March 22 crackdown. Every time I say this, I think I just want to go see him. Now, here we have a picture. This was El Salvador on January 1st. El Salvador right now, it used to be the world's murder capital, but now there are no more terrorist gangs, no more terrorist attacks. Families can.
So this is them celebrating Christmas.
New Year's.
New Year's, okay.
Yeah.
Lots of lights and lots of people, and looks very happy and warm.
It does. It's a Christmas New Year celebration.
Love it.
But what you'll see in the next tweet is, you'll have to translate it. So bring it up. I think this is so great. Doing exactly what we do. He's a man after my own heart. Now read the tweet first.
Okay.
You go up and translate it. You have to translate it.
Got it. Today is the last day to enjoy the Christmas Village in the Historic Center. It was closed yesterday, but we decided to open one more day so that more families can live the full experience with all its activities and presentations. It will be open all day until midnight. God bless El Salvador.
So they did that they did it the day after New Year's Day.
Oh, that's super fun. Wow, that's really beautiful.
Just keep it going.
Just keep it
Open
going.
it one more day. Can you just imagine? I'm the president. We're opening this one more day.
That's awesome. Our Christmas lights are still up, and they will be up until I have time to take them down. And we haven't completed the 12 days of Christmas. Is that today? Is today the last day?
It's today, I think.
Tonight, whatever. Look at how beautiful it is. It kind of makes me want to go to a warm place for Christmas. I mean, kind of not, but like, I just want to go to El Salvador, period. That looks amazing. And I want to interview Nayib Buckele. If anybody in the world knows how to make that happen, please let me know.
Yes,
that would be
awesome because I know he's spirit-filled.
We really need to get
go
passports.
in person, and I want to go in person because I want to pray with him.
Leah,
I want to pray with him.
We need to get our passports up and running.
Yeah, but we can't fly, so we'd have to drive. It's a very long drive. So Guatemala and El Salvador sent soldiers to Haiti to join the multinational security support, the MSS, on Friday. According to the announcements of the Haitian National Police, this group, consisting of 75 Guatemalan soldiers and 8 Salvadoran soldiers, hopefully maybe they'll send a little bit more, 8, doesn't seem like a lot, is joining as a part of the MSS mission to assist in the fight against gang-related violence. A second contingent of 75 Guatemalan soldiers is expected to arrive in Haiti soon, further strengthening the number of Guatemalan troops deployed to support the Haitian National Police's efforts. So we're not giving Guatemala enough, credit here. They're also coming in. So, in 2024, the UN Integrated Office in Haiti and the Office of the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights released an investigative report on a massacre with 207 known executions carried out by the criminal gang in Port-au-Prince between December 6th and December 11th of 2024. The UN office has recorded a total of 5,350 people killed in 2024, with a total of 17,000 deaths and injuries since the Wharf Jerome gang has been active in Port-au-Prince since 2022.
Wow.
Yes, they're in desperate, dire straits. It's pretty bad. It's definitely bad.
Well, if anybody can do anything, it would be Nayib Buckele. So I'm hoping that they actually send a little bit more than the 7.
Yeah, me 3
soldiers.
Now, you can bring this one up. Go to the Greenland. So, Greenland's prime minister wants independence from Denmark. Because, and I don't know if you've seen, have you seen some of the tweets where Donald Trump has been tweeting about grabbing Greenland and making it part of the United States?
No.
It's been a joke.
Okay.
Iceland is a kind of a decent sized country. It's like they always say Greenland is actually more icy and
Right.
Iceland is more green.
Right.
I don't know the population. Somebody Google what's the population of Greenland. It's like 10 people. But I guess it's a territory of Denmark, and Donald Trump has been calling for acquiring Greenland. But the looks like the Greenland prime minister, they're dressed very much in Zelensky gear, is calling for their independence from Denmark.
Here in Greenland, we need to have some growth. We need to have some economic growth and diversify our economy. And of course, we welcome our strong partners, like-minded nations as first. But if they don't invest, there's a lot of companies who also want to invest in this country.
So the population of Greenland is like smaller than a city.
The population of Greenland is 56,600 people, with about 19,000 people living in the capital of Nuuk.
So I'm going to be honest, I thought it was
It's
a
the
little bit
world's
bigger than that.
largest island, but the least densely populated country on Earth.
Wow. Huh.
It has a population density of 0.02 people per square kilometer.
Wow.
75% of Greenland is a permanent sheet of ice.
Well,
permanent, as in, it's like
so. Like if you
concrete.
meet somebody from Greenland, which I can't remember if I ever have, then that would be kind of a rare thing. Is that what we're thinking?
Yeah.
Right.
I wanna play this Facebook video. I don't know if
Where do I find it in your history?
Yeah.
Okay. Tell them what it is first.
It's a video on the fact that there's only 57,000 people that live there. They look like Inuit, like Alaskan Inuits, like they're, because Iceland was like really settled by Scandinavians, but I guess Greenland is still like more like.
So we're taking a geography lesson right now?
Yeah.
Is that what we're doing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we're learning a little bit.
1,000 people in Greenland. 19,600 of us lives in the capital Nuuk, which means more than 1/3 of Greenland's population is based here. Nuuk has a big city vibe with a cultural center, a cinema, public indoor swimming pool, restaurants, cafes, shops, and more. The next biggest town in Greenland is Sisimiut with around 5,600 inhabitants. My husband Inungwak is from Sisimiut. The third biggest is Ilulissat with around 4,700 inhabitants. Ilulissat means icebergs and a great place to go if you want to see huge icebergs. My hometown Qaqortoq in South Greenland has around 3,000 inhabitants. Life is amazing, Akago. Dako!
Oh, that's adorable. We literally never talk about Greenland on this show. Like
No?
I think out of like all of the countries that we know their names, this one is one that we don't talk about. Just saying. Like I know next to nothing about Greenland, if I'm being honest. Like they have Olympians, that's all I know.
Yeah.
They do the Winter Olympic sports. They send a lot of people.
So they really think Trump is serious about. So they want to.
That's ridiculous.
It's kind of funny. Oh
my gosh.
Actually, I find this.
We're not taking Greenland. Okay. Like we're not.
All right. We have other country leaders, other leaders in other countries who are a little bit perturbed of a Donald Trump presidency. The Honduras president, Xiomara Castro, just issued a threat to Donald Trump, saying she'll shut down the U.S. military bases if he deports Honduran nationals. So if a country
sends you back your
citizens, you're going to be mad about it. So you can read her little subtitles here.
All right, she starts off by saying, Honduran people, I want to express that we hope that this new U.S. administration of democratically elected President Donald Trump will be open to constructive and friendly dialogue, not to take unnecessary reprisals against our migrants in the face of a hostile attitude of mass expulsion of our brothers. We would have to consider a change in our cooperation policies with the U.S., especially in the military field, in which, without paying our .01 for decades, maintain military bases in our territory, which in this case would lose all reason to exist in Honduras.
I didn't know that that was the unwritten rule. You allow illegal migrants into your country.
Right.
Why not just make it a rule? Like, listen, in exchange for allowing the military base in Honduras, we are going to allow this many Hondurans into our country.
Sure.
If you're going to be on the up and up.
Right.
This is ridiculous. She's literally saying, my Honduran brothers. She's calling across, miles into America. She's not talking to those in Honduras. She's talking to those in the United States. I'm standing up for you so that you can continue to cross illegally into the United States and work
stay
there.
in the United States. That's a very strange statement. But I would say, this is just my guess and opinion here, that it's, so if you're living in Honduras and let's say you have the man of the house in the United States making money and sending money back to Honduras for your family to exist and subsist, it's going to be a very strong political move for her to come out and say this so that these families can rest assured that their husbands will be able to continue to work and stay in the United States and send money back. It sounds like a political move.
Your country can't support its people. That's a problem.
Yes.
So you shouldn't be president. You're having an issue. Like, you're having issues.
But she doesn't care what she looks like to the world. She's just doing what is best for her politically.
Obviously, yeah, best for her politically. I think that's a good point to make here. All right, a few more headlines here around the world, because Sunday is the time we go around the world and we try to show you that we are not a narcissistic country and that we actually care about other people. All right. So Montenegro considers a complete gun ban after 12 were shot. Montenegro's National Security Council, I believe it's like a territory of France, considered new gun controls Friday, including a complete gun ban in response to New Year's Day attack that killed 12 people. The Washington Post noted that the shooter, a 45-year-old Alexander Martinovic, shot himself after police cornered him. The Associated Press pointed out Martinovic apparently began his rampage following a bar brawl, after which he retrieved a gun and killed 12 innocents. He used a 9mm firearm, and police believe he fired a total of 37 rounds. Montenegro, a Balkan country of approximately 620,000 citizens, is sixth in the world when it comes to the number of illegal weapons per person.
Oh my gosh.
Wow. In a post on Twitter, the Prime Minister and National Security Council would consider a complete ban on gun ownership if they are sixth in illegal guns. All you're going to do at that point is just have
Civil war?
Illegal guns.
Oh, well, yeah.
Like, no good citizens will be able to defend themselves.
Exactly.
Because obviously the people with illegal guns don't have a problem with having illegal guns.
And unless you're Nayib Buckele, you're not going to be able to eradicate the people having illegal guns from having illegal guns.
But it doesn't look like this was a terror attack. Madre, you got something you want to say?
Yeah, do I have a speaker?
You do not have a microphone right now. I'm sorry.
This was written by John Locke in he was born 1632 to 1704. So the Pilgrims came here and then John Locke was born. But this isn't anything new in the UK. If you read chapter 20, it's the exact same thing happening today.
Chapter 4.
This right here up top.
Okay.
Chapter 3.
You mean chapter 3? All right. Nay.
No, it's not it's a part.
Right, I got it.
Can I read it? I just feel like I'm a John Locker.
Okay.
I feel like John Locke. I feel like I like to channel him. Like, he's my favorite.
Okay.
I like him a lot.
Okay.
It's chapter 3. It's 20.
At the nay here?
Right there. It's the exact same thing happening today. This is a curse on UK.
This is a curse on the UK.
Because it's been happening since 1632.
This has been happening since 1613.
The judicial is right there.
32. She
The
said.
judicial.
32.
Nay, where an appeal to the law and constituted judges lies open, but the remedy is denied by a manifest perverting of justice and a barefaced wresting of the laws, you can interpret if you feel like the need to jump in. To protect or indemnify the violence or injuries of some men or party of men, there it is hard to imagine anything but a state of war. And we talked about this, the state of war. You guys remember on Friday, this is what we were talking about. For wherever violence is used and injury done, though by hands appointed by a minister of justice, even if it's the minister of justice, it is still violence and injury. The UK government is at a state of war with Tommy Robinson. Though by hands appointed to administer justice, it is still violence and injury, however colored with the name, pretenses, or forms of law. Nigel, read John Locke. I don't care if they're saying, but he is in contempt of court. No. If something is done, violence is done to a person, even if it's by the minister of justice, it's still, you're in a state of war with the person. The end whereof being to protect and redress the innocent by an unbiased application of it to all who are under it. Whenever that is not bona fide done, if there's not justice done, war is made upon the sufferers. So he's saying what this labor government is doing is declaring war upon Tommy Robinson and, in effect, his followers. Now, mind you, John Locke is a British guy. Okay? We think that he's American. He was a no wise American. He is British, and you British people, just because we used his great words to separate from Great Britain, you guys need to resurrect this guy. He's the best of the best. He's the brightest mind. Okay? I'm telling you, embrace John Locke. He's so smart. So war is made upon the sufferers who, having no appeal on earth to right them, where's Tommy going to go? They are left to the only remedy in such cases. What is that? An appeal to heaven. So we have, this right here. Have you ever seen the flag that's the evergreen tree? It's the appeal to heaven flag. And that is when the justice system isn't justice, but the justice system has made war against you. And you have no more appeal to justice, even though justice is supposed to be had. Then you appeal to heaven. So Tommy, Elon, anybody, when there's no appeal to be had, you must appeal to heaven, which is what the Americans were flying because they kept trying to go to Great Britain for a redress of their grievances. And so they appealed to heaven. Mom, did you want me to read beyond appeal to heaven?
She said 21 is the answer.
21 is, there we go. To avoid this state of war wherein there is no appeal but to heaven, wherein the least difference is apt to end, where there is no authority to decide between the contenders, there should be an authority between the judge and Tommy right now, because this is a politically motivated deal. And one great reason of men's putting themselves into society and quitting the state of nature, John Locke, what he talks about, is that we're all born in a state of nature. We are our own person, and almost a state of anarchy where I do what I want to do. We give up temporarily tiny bits of our own personal freedom, and we put ourselves in what's called the state of society so that we can have something to appeal to for the redress of our grievances. The idea of a government is not to collect taxes. It's not to build bridges and roads, despite what everybody tells you to. It's not even to have an NHS, despite what they tell you. Okay?
Or to go to Mars.
The idea of government is to make sure that what is yours stays yours and what is mine stays mine.
Preserve your rights.
To preserve your rights. Is one great reason of men's putting themselves into society and quitting the state of nature. For where there is an authority, a power on earth from which relief can be had by appeal, There, the countenance of the state of war is excluded, and the controversy is decided by that power. Had there been any such court, any superior jurisdiction on earth to determine the right between Jephthah and the Ammonites, he quotes scripture because he's a very strong Christian, and everybody knew scripture at that time, they had never come to a state of war. But we see he was forced to appeal to heaven. The Lord, the judge, he says, be judged this day between the children of Israel and the children of Ammon. Judges. Chapter 11, 27, verse 27. And then, prosecuting and relying on his appeal, he leads his army out to battle. And therefore, in such controversies, where the question is put, who shall judge, it cannot be meant, who shall decide the controversy. Everyone knows what Japheth here tells us. The Lord is the judge, shall judge. Where there is no judge on earth, the appeal lies to God in heaven. The question then cannot mean who shall judge whether another hath put himself in a state of war with me, and whether I may, as Japheth, appeal to heaven on it, or of that I myself can only be judge in my own conscience, as I will answer to it in that great day, to the supreme judge of all men. So at this point, with Tommy Robinson, we appeal to heaven, and so we shall, on behalf of Tommy Robinson. For Father God, we appeal to heaven.
Amen.
We invoke John Locke and his great words. And I just pray, actually, for a resurrection, and that every British citizen would again read both the first and second treaties of government and a letter concerning toleration. Read them both. They're really great.
Amen.
I'm not done. And I pray that you bring justice, and you decide as judge between Tommy and between this labor prosecutor. And I pray for good justice and judgment to begin to reign again. And I pray for this row between Elon and Nigel to be sifted out and to be made right. And that you would show Nigel what Tommy has been fighting for. And you would show all of these men the greatness of the power of the gospel of Jesus Christ, which can only transform the hearts and minds of men. In Jesus' name, pray, amen.
Amen.
Elon and Nigel are pro.
I was going to read some comments. So, and this would be a good. Can we?
Before you guys end,
we're not going to end.
White Christmas where they open up the curtains.
Okay.
And it's all snowing outside. Because go upstairs to the deck and.
Well, I can't bring everybody upstairs.
What we will do is I'll go up and take a video with the camera, and I will bring it down.
Okay. Earlier, Patriot Galler had put in the chat, I think over on Getter. Hi, Getter.
Hi, Getter.
We love you guys over there. Talking about Elon is pro-pornography on Twitter.
Is that insane?
So, Leah, you have an article up about the Tate brothers. I don't know what it's about. I don't know if we want to shift there. We can. But both, so we had Nigel not really defending Andrew Tate, but not willing to take a stance on Andrew Tate. We've got Elon Musk, who is on the one hand calling out the grooming gangs, but on the other hand, totally okay with completely illicit, straight up pornography posted on Twitter for children to see, which is a form of grooming.
Yes, it is absolutely a form of grooming.
Right? So what was this article on? You can just tell us real quick.
Yeah, so there's a third case against the Tate brothers, and this has to do with tax evasion, because they don't pay tax. They don't pay tax in any jurisdiction whatsoever. And so there's a third case, and they keep hoping, they keep telling everybody, my case is dropped here, my case is dropped here. It says, DICOT, which is the Romanian government here, prosecutors have initiated a third case against the Tate brothers, focusing on allegations of financial crimes, including large-scale tax evasion and money laundering. This case is separate from their ongoing legal issues, meaning DICOT has the authority to conduct further raids, potentially rearrest the brothers, and likely seize a significant portion of their assets once again. Additionally, the Tate brothers are expected to be indicted in the second case this February.
Wow.
So it just keeps piling up. Now, back to Britain real quick. This was a sad headline. Illegal migrants and asylum seekers are given preferential access to Britain's socialized healthcare systems, as a report. Illegal migrants and so-called asylum seekers are being prioritized over native Britons by the NHS. This is an actual report. While British citizens have had to wait hours to be treated at accident and emergency departments, A&E, the NHS schemes such as 987 Inclusion Health prioritize undocumented migrants, meaning they get to skip to the front of the queue. According to the broadsheet, even asylum seekers who have had their claims rejected are still being given preferential treatment over many native Britons who are actually paying
astronomically for this thing, reporting that special walk-in services at community day centers in South London are afforded to failed asylum seekers, while up to 15% of other locals were forced to wait at least a week before seeing a doctor in November. You could walk right in if you were an asylum seeker. Meanwhile, London Guy's and St. Thomas's Hospital has a specific healthcare program for refugees and asylum seekers in Lambeth and Southwark, which also includes access for illegal migrants and asylum seekers. A source told the paper that the service was set up to address unmet needs in particularly vulnerable people. NHS England has claimed that such schemes are designed to combat inequality in the healthcare system. The spokesperson said the socialized healthcare service is legally required to provide healthcare service to asylum seekers and migrants, which are free to the point of use, at the point of use, and has a legal duty to address inequalities. A spokesperson told The Telegraph it is vital that all vulnerable members of society, including asylum seekers, are able to access health care. Our $26 billion investment in the NHS and reforms in the health service will make sure that it's there for everyone. However, the socialized healthcare system has come under criticism, including top cancer specialist Dr. Carol Sikora, who said the only prioritization in healthcare should be the urgency of the medical need.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Especially in the emergency department. Yeah. A patient that's not breathing properly and going blue needs immediate care, whether their color, creed, or country of origin. The preferential treatment for migrants was also lambasted by political opponents. Nigel Farage saying, "Welcome to Keir Starmer's Britain. This is unfair, it's wrong, and only reform will end it." This makes me so angry. The EU chief, Ursula von der Leyen, has been sidelined with severe pneumonia. I'm not going to wish it on her, but she has canceled her appointments for the next 2 weeks. She felt ill, and now she has severe pneumonia.
So you think that the COVID jab didn't protect her from whatever she's got?
It did not. Nearly 9 in 10 expect French government to fall this year. The majority want him to resign.
Well, we just saw that he was at the bottom of the list of popularity for presidents or for world leaders of nations. So
now I saw it. So you can click. We did the green one. Meghan Markle rented a mansion in her neighborhood and fancies herself, if you scroll down, the next Martha Stinking Stewart. I guess she did like a lot of these things before. I saw it, so you have to see it. She has a new program on Netflix. She is separated from Prince Harry, and her life is just joyous.
Hang on, when did they separate?
They are over the past few months. They are separated.
Let's make a show.
She's got her life. This is her life now.
Let's go. I've always loved taking something pretty ordinary and elevating it. Surprising people with moments that let them know I was really thinking of them.
I'm sure she thinks of a lot of people.
This is probably one of the most glamorous moments of my life.
It's magic. I'm gonna share some little tips and tricks. I see what color I gravitate to, and everything goes from there. And how you can incorporate these practices every day. That's what you want. You want that shape and texture. Come on. This is about connecting with friends. I love that we're doing this together for the first time. Making new friends. That is so good.
We're family now.
I'm just learning.
Look at how much honey we have.
You don't extract right there by the hive.
Perfection. Woke us all up. We're in the pursuit of joy. Love is in the details. I have to do it totally wrong to get it totally right. Look at what we made.
There, he was just right there.
I know, but they're separated right now.
Guy snoring. Peaceful day.
Okay, so here's what I have to say about this. I have a lot to say about this. So that was painful. But if people didn't know her and they watched that, like they have no context of who she is, right? And they watch that and it looks like a fun show. Like it looks like people are going to have a good time. It looks a little bit senseless, but you know, whatever. The problem is that most people don't know her and how corrupt she is. They don't know that she's a lying, conniving, you know, prince stealing. You know what I'm saying? Like, they don't know the depths of evil that she walks in. So Netflix is going to put this out, and it will probably do fairly well.
So while they are pursuing separate professional paths, they are supposedly still together. I don't need to speculate on them, but
Shauna puts a barf emoji.
Yeah.
Yeah. Barry says, when my brother was alive on his last Christmas, he had to go to the emergency and he had to wait 24 hours before being seen during winter. This is normal in England. 24 hours is a long time.
So actually, one last clip here. Actually, I don't need to play all of this, but you guys can go check this out. Pierre Poilievre could be the next Prime Minister of Canada, and Jordan Peterson has interviewed him.
Dollar of his American, and they're both measured in USD. In Vancouver, more money goes to bureaucrats than goes to the carpenters, electricians, and plumbers who build the place. And to add insult to injury, tradespeople who build homes can't afford to live in them. Why is it that we're still importing oil when we've got the world's third biggest supply? Why is it we can't export our natural gas?
I think that was perhaps the single stupidest thing I ever heard a politician say. Your federal government spent $6,000 of your family's money going over their budget.
They've squeezed the taxpayer out of every last dime, and they're still $62 billion short.
It's worse than that because I suspect that the true picture is a lot more dismal than we know. Okay, so that's going to be dumped on you sometime in the next year.
They get the party, I get the hangover.
8 years from now, what does it look like?
So that looks interesting to see. So I recommend that. Now let's see what Neil Oliver says for the new year here. They don't want this to happen in 2025.
Right? And it's a pandemic of distrust. The symptoms include, but are not limited to, mounting skepticism and a tendency to assume that an official whose lips are moving in front of a microphone is surely lying, or at least doing no more than push propaganda concocted by the state. Let me be clear. I have these symptoms and more besides, and I have no intention, none whatever, of seeking any remedy. Government is not, repeat, not to be trusted. That I have arrived at this state of mind after all these years, sceptical, questioning, seeking alternative points of view, doing my own research, thinking critically and encouraging others to do likewise. Well, hallelujah. And my only regret is that it took me so long. Say it once and say it loud. I don't trust the government and I'm proud. This week, a health expert, and another symptom of the distrust pandemic is the routine placing of the word expert in audible inverted commas. A health expert called on the Biden regime in its death throes, but most certainly not dead yet, to authorise the bird flu vaccine for Americans before Trump takes office. Allow me to quote from an article in online publication Vigilant News, a piece redolent with the aforementioned scepticism. Former Baltimore Health Commissioner Dr. Leana Wen called for the Biden administration to prompt the FDA to authorise the H5N1 vaccine and expand rapid testing for bird flu before President-elect Donald Trump takes office. In an appearance on CBS News' Face the Nation on Sunday, Wen claimed that the Biden administration should take steps to prepare for a possible animal-to-human outbreak of H5N1 following reports a patient in Louisiana contracted the virus earlier this month.
Bird flu. Is this report out of Louisiana worrisome? And if so, why?
Well, it's one more sign that the drumbeat of bird flu coming closer to humans is becoming a major threat. So we've already seen this year that there have been a number of mammalian species close to humans that now have bird flu outbreaks. We have outbreaks in poultry in all 50 states. 16 states have outbreaks in cattle. In California, in the last 30 days, there have been more than 300 herds that tested positive. And now we have 66 cases of bird flu in humans. And this is almost certainly a significant undercount because we have not been doing nearly enough testing, so we really don't know the extent of bird flu that's out there in humans. But this particular case, it's someone who is severely ill, but not only that, researchers have isolated the virus in this individual who is sick in Louisiana, and they found that this particular strain of the virus appears to have acquired mutations that make it more likely to bind to airway receptors. Bird flu has been around for a long time.
About 30 years.
Yeah, exactly. But it hasn't been a major issue in humans because while it spreads among birds, it hasn't really spread among mammals. But now there is this mutation. And there's another concern now, major too, which is that we're in flu season. And it's possible that a single person could have bird flu and seasonal flu at the same time.
Something called reassortment.
That's right.
Where things change because of one illness becoming another illness through reassortment of a mutated virus.
That's right. And so the viruses could exchange genes. You could develop a new hybrid virus. And if you now have a virus that's more contagious and causes more severe disease, that's when it becomes a major threat to humankind.
I especially enjoyed the tone of the journalist. And as with expert, I often involuntarily place the word journalist in scare quotes now too, when he preempted his guest's use of the exciting technical term reassortment.
Something called reassortment.
That's right.
Where things change because of one illness becoming another illness through reassortment of a mutated virus.
Any suggestion that that cheesiest part of the exchange was carefully rehearsed ahead of time is mine and mine alone, of course. But are these people, these channels, listening to themselves and their output less like anything that might be called news, there's those inverted commas again, and more a bad, long-running soap opera performed by wooden actors? It might be funny if there wasn't something real and important to be aware of here. On account of the nonsense we were fed during the COVID 1984 era, the propaganda and lies that ended and destroyed lives, the trust of perhaps too many people, trust in authority figures, has gone for good. Real-world data from, for example, Germany, has long since revealed the truth about what actually happened in 2019, 2020 and 2021.
Sank die Klinikbelegung in Deutschland bundesweit im Jahre 2020 auf ein historisches Allzeittief, sagt das Bundesgesundheitsministerium. Zweitens gab es 2020 und 2021
Secondly, there were no more severe
schwere
respiratory illnesses than usual in
als sonst.
2020 and 2021.
Corona kam, die Influenza
Corona came,
verschwand
influenza
zeitweise.
disappeared,
Sagen die Sentinel-Daten
says
des
Robert
RKI.
Koch Institute.
Drittens starben im Jahr
Thirdly,
2020
age-standardized mortality was not higher in
nicht mehr Menschen
2020
als sonst
than
auch.
usual.
Erst seit 2021
Mortality
nimmt die
has only
Sterblichkeit
increased since
Sagen
2021,
Daten des
says the
Statistischen
Federal
Bundesamts.
Statistical Office.
Viertens waren Menschen,
Fourthly,
die mit
people
oder
who
an
died with
Corona
or from
verstarben,
coronavirus
im Mittel 83
were on average
Jahre alt
83 years old.
und die übrigen Verstorbenen
The
im
other
Mittel
diseased were
82
82
Jahre
years
alt.
old,
Sagen RKI und Statistisches
says the
Bundesamt.
RKI and the Federal Statistical Office.
Fünftens und letztens
Fifthly, Sweden,
schnitt
which was
das
free of
Masken-
masks
und
and lockdowns,
lockdownfreie
fared better than Germany.
besser ab als Deutschland.
Lying and propagandizing authority doesn't even confront such data because it's the truth, however inconvenient. Instead, into the faces of the same populations coming to terms with having been lied to, having lost all trust and faith in authority, we are treated to frightening messaging about the next thing. I have no way of knowing if bird flu now poses a deadly threat, but I do know that one thing I absolutely will not be doing is taking the word of people offered up as health experts. I certainly haven't missed the fact that whatever this so-called bird flu outbreak does for the authorities, it's boosting their war on the food most of us eat. Surely it's no coincidence that the problem species, apart from us pesky humans of course, are the beef and dairy herds and the poultry flocks. Call me conspiracist, but that bird flu might bring closer the day when they start culling wholesale, like they've done before, and then the replacement of what's been taken from us, beef, chicken, milk and eggs with, well, I dread to think what with. Call me conspiracist, but I can't help seeing a pattern here.
And now we have 66 cases of bird flu in humans. And this is almost certainly a significant undercount because we have not been doing nearly enough testing. And so we really don't know the extent of bird flu that's out there in humans.
Where have we heard that before? Not enough testing. It's actually a joke now. A popular meme all over social media. A meme that asked, what kind of threat to health is COVID when you don't know you have it unless you're tested for it? That sort of thinking has taken firm root now in the minds of millions, myself included, that COVID was only a state fantasy, that it was a product of a pandemic of nothing more than compulsory testing with PCR tests that were utterly unsuited to the task. It's only been a few years and too many people like me have this mindset now, cannot and will not forget what happened. Among other practices, testing sounds like a bad joke, something participated in only by the gullible, the dupes who chose to go along with the scam. I mentioned social media and the meme culture. And so it seems like no coincidence either that there's also coverage this week relating to an imminent US ban of TikTok. Online publication Reclaim the Net ran a story headlined, Donald Trump urges Supreme Court to delay TikTok ban amid First Amendment concerns. And I quote, a delay could reshape the digital landscape while redefining government power over online platforms. The article goes on, this legal manoeuvre comes as the Biden administration staunchly defends the ban, labelling TikTok a severe threat due to its ties to its Chinese parent company. With the app's future hanging in the balance, the Supreme Court faces a pivotal decision about whether the law, set to take effect January 19, violates the First Amendment. Arguments are scheduled for January 10, ensuring the case will remain at the forefront of public debate into the new year. The ban, passed by Congress earlier this year with bipartisan support, stems from fears that TikTok can harvest data from US users and manipulate content to serve geopolitical interests. Close quote. All through the COVID era, it was access to social media that kept millions of people sane in the face of state-driven mainstream media propaganda. So-called journalists, trusted by their viewers, set aside any morals and ethics and just cheerled the fear and pushed the state agenda. Too many people learned that lesson too. For many, the younger generation included, TikTok was where they went and where they continue to go to avoid lies pushed by their own governments. And so my point is this. Governments, bad actors within and around it, serving the institutions, are responsible for this destruction of the popular trust. Whatever happens from this point, whatever threat, real or imagined, and let's face it, some threats are actually real, fewer and fewer people will expect to hear anything worth hearing from government or from the mainstream media and from the institutions of state. This matters, and profoundly. Scepticism and suspicion, distrust of authority, has moved from pandemic to endemic in that the new state of affairs has taken root in the thinking of millions. Bird flu today, is it? From many, and for completely understandable, legitimate reasons, the answer will be, I don't think so. And since authority is untrustworthy, we expect them, actually expect them, to seek to curtail free speech. Moves to ban TikTok or any other platform will be perceived for what they are, the desperation of the authorities to control the narrative only by censoring anyone and everyone who challenges their distrusted storytelling. In his challenge to the ban, Donald Trump has stated, the First Amendment implications of the federal government's effective shuttering of a social media platform used by 170 million Americans are sweeping and troubling, end quote. Whether you're pro or anti-establishment, this is a state of affairs that might at least be described as interesting. Questioning, critically thinking people will always find ways to reach and remain in contact with one another. That more and more people want nothing whatever to do with authority, well, those authorities have only themselves to blame.
So, Leah, are you afraid of bird flu?
No.
Do you think that they are trying to implement a repeat of COVID? Starting off with something that really, on its head isn't going to affect people, but then they do actually have something else that they're releasing that's not really bird flu, but is, do we need to be afraid?
No, I don't think that that's where this is headed. I think that it's a distraction. I think that once you have a grift, you kind of continue to play the grift for a while. But I think that boat has sailed, that tune is done. And the thing about COVID is that we had literal people falling over, dying.
Right.
And we had all these, things coming out of Italy. And then, we don't know what we got in 2020. We think it was COVID because it had the cough, but we really don't know. We do know that whatever came around with that in 2021, that I can tell you
was a bioweapon?
Was a bioweapon. It was a bioweapon. So everything else after that, I just don't know. I don't understand. So, but we know that bird flu, everybody's been fine.
What do you think about the, what was the name of that guy that said, we're going to be faced with all of these diseases
on day one
of Trump's presidency.
January 2021.
Yeah. What do you make of that? Do you think they're going to try something?
I think they're out of weapons, honestly, because here's the thing. COVID was so bad because they released the jab.
Yeah, that's true.
People were getting sick. We know, I know a lot of people who got sick, really, really sick. I've never been so sick in my life. But there was this feeling like they're going to be okay.
Yeah.
And even some of our, like our cousin, I remember he was feeling so badly that he went to the ER and they were like, no, you're fine, go home.
Yeah.
But then they started to keep people and then they died.
And then put them on the ventilators.
And that was with the Delta, right? Because something had switched. What had switched? The jab came out.
Right.
And it had altered everybody and put that spike protein at like a level 100. So I do believe that people are not going to take this jab. And if people
do they have a jab for it? Did I miss that part?
They have been working on a jab.
Oh, dear God.
And they would like to release this jab.
Zombie.
So what I believe is that I think that we'll be okay as long as nobody takes a jab. And I don't think they will.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think they will. I remember when swine flu came out.
Yeah, exactly. That was a big flop.
We actually went in because we had done some research studies. And it was a flu vaccine study. We're like, I'll take a flu vaccine. Okay. Mind you, we were different back then. To make some money.
We were not awake. Leah, you're leading this up really poorly.
This was years ago.
Was this before we met Matt?
Oh, yeah.
So this was like 13, 14 years ago. Right whenever swine flu was big at the time. And we had been at that time, we had done several flu vaccine studies. That should tell you how little we knew back then, right? So we didn't know anything to be afraid of. And Leah and I were sitting...
But we didn't know it was swine flu. We went in for a flu vaccine study.
But they told us it was swine flu. And then we looked at each other and we're like, do we really want to do this study?
The reason why we did the flu vaccine studies is because the flu vaccine has been around for many, many years. And I've never known anybody to die from it, be harmed from it. All I've known is that people get the flu from it, right? So I have not been concerned about a flu vaccine. But with this, when we were going in for the swine flu vaccine, it was brand new and had not been tested on people.
But I remember that day very vividly. And what I'm getting at is, I don't think that we had really anything to go on other than Holy Spirit that told us don't do this.
They started to say, we don't know what's going to happen. You are one of the first trials that we're doing. And one of the things that we had always said is that I'm not going to be a frontline trial person. The other things that we had tried, frontline, I think we had been frontline trial people, but it was 1/180th of a dose. They were giving us a full dose straight up.
I think you're missing what I'm trying to get at, and that's okay. Maybe it's just my own personal experience.
I'm explaining my reasoning behind it.
It was, for me, I feel like there really wasn't much other than the Holy Spirit said, no, don't do this.
Yeah, and we just walked out.
And we walked out, which was a big deal for us.
So don't take any jabs.
Don't do it. So Barry sent us 3 packages. Now, the first package that he sent us was the All Creatures Great and Small James Herriot book series, which Horatio had also sent. And thank you for that. Now, we have been watching a show on the BBC called All Creatures Great and Small, which I absolutely love. It's so fun. It's become like my favorite thing on planet Earth. And Barry, you also sent the hymn for that, and I had it pulled up, and I don't know. And Mom, I'm going to do your White Christmas thing here in a second. I don't know why it's not playing. Leah, could you? I don't know if you can help me find this.
What do you mean find?
Barry, the problem is when I get things on Messenger, I'm not logged into that because I'm logged into Resistance Chicks, and I can't access it. I need this All Things Bright and Beautiful hymn. I can probably just send it to myself.
Can I just
he wants me to
find
play it
on,
while we're
YouTube?
Maybe. I don't know if you're going to find the right one here. Here we go. I think I can pull it up from here. And so I want to encourage you guys, if you've never watched any kind of the James Harriet, because I guess there was a series back in the can you play it so I can find it in the history? There was a series that they came out with in like the 90s. It's just family fun. It's really great. Okay, but before I get to all of that, I do need to pop over here. We're going to do a commercial. My Pillow is having a New Year's sale.
Oh.
So I want to encourage you guys, if you have not gone to My Pillow in a minute, to go there and check out their sales. You can use promo code RC to get all of the deals. But they have their standard pillows. I'm not sure that these are ever going to go on sale, but this classic collection pillow, $14.98, is the pillow I sleep with every night. Like, it's my favorite pillow. I can't sleep with any of my other pillows anymore. And then they have their bolster pillow and pillowcase. It's kind of like a body pillow type thing. It's on sale from $50 to $29.98. So I wanted to look at the closeout sale that they have on their slippers and sandals and slides, because they have a big sale going on right now. So they say these all season women's moccasin slippers for $25. I don't think that you can beat that deal. Like, no, I'm telling you,
leather.
They're
leather. That's
a huge deal right there. And then of course the men's slides right now are only $9.50. So if you need those going into summer, go ahead and get them now. They're dishcloth and dish towel sets. We use these.
I love them.
Every single day.
I don't want any other dishcloths.
My favorite. The 6-pack dishcloth set is $19.99. That's like the square dish towels. Then the larger set, the reason why it's more expensive is because it's got the bigger towels. It comes with 6 of these towels, which I love, and they are amazing. They're on sale for $29.99.
They're really absorbent. They're the best dish towels ever.
Literally. And then they have the 8-pack of the waffle dish.
So I find myself with the 6-pack dishcloth set.
Yeah.
You guys know what it's like with dishcloths and how they do not soak anything up.
These soak up.
I find myself happily using them. When I see one, I'm like, ooh,
I know.
I'm like, should I use it? Should I save it?
No, you just use it.
I know.
And we can get some more.
We'll have to get some more.
My mattress toppers are more than 50% off right now. If you have a twin size bed, you can get one for less than $100, $99.99. So mypillow.com, use promo code RC at the checkout. And you will not be sorry, because you're supporting not just Resistance Chicks, but Mike Lindell and election integrity and all of the things, besides the fact that you're getting absolutely American-made, awesome products. So let's go over here to I'm going to play this in the background while we open up Barry's package. See if it'll, and as long as we don't get a copyright, we might get a copyright on it. Hope not. There we go. Okay, so Barry, thank you for sending the packages. I have no idea what's in here. That's adorable. And we hear that. We have like a, here in the United States, or at least in our community, we have veterinarian clinics that are all creatures great and small. All God's creatures, whatever. So Barry had to send these in multiple packets. Okay, so you were saying something about this Bethlehem Post here. So this must come from the Bethlehem Post Office, I'm guessing, because you had said that it was a Bethlehem Post. Let me turn this down just a little bit. I don't know how loud that is for you guys. So thank you for this little notebook. That's super fun.
Little Bethlehem star on it.
Little Bethlehem star on it. But I was looking at the post on this from the UK, and that sticker was on there, and I asked Barry about that, and I said, what's with the Bethlehem thing? And he said that that's the post there, I think. I'm gonna make sure I'm getting that right. Barry, I don't want to play too much of this because I don't want to get kicked off of YouTube or Facebook for that, so I'm going to end that there, just because, and that is a really adorable hymn there. But Facebook's really bad about the copyright thing, or really good, whichever way you want to word it.
I very much like that hymn. God made them all.
Amen.
Things beautiful, all creatures, great and small.
Now, this is not my regular knife here, so that's why I'm struggling. All right. Okay. Barry does a good job of packaging.
Well, I mean,
Here,
it's coming
lots of
all the
tape.
way across the
It is
pond.
coming from all the way across the pond. Feel like I feel like I should do this ahead of time so that it's
No,
done,
it's
but
more
then
fun to watch.
Is it more fun to watch me struggle?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. So Hilton, he mentioned you and pocket knives.
I know.
And his
I don't even have a
latest
good one
hike,
here.
Hilton,
This is a really
is
dumb
it 101
one.
or 1000? He takes these beautiful hikes
1100, I think.
in Wales. And he just records him and talking. And so he had found somebody's pocket knife, and then he found the guy who the pocket knife belongs to. And it just was, small world.
That's awesome.
And then he talked about Michelle and her pocket knives, talking about the pocket knives.
Because I have a mild
and
obsession.
it was a Swiss Army knife that he found with all the goodies.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, this
Which
looks
is
really
what you
fun.
have
Whatever this is.
open right now. Uh-oh.
Hang on, I'm going to get it. Okay, Bethlehem berry.
And turn it around. It says Wales on the back.
Okay, so does that mean Wales? Does the Simru mean Wales? Is this an adorable little bag, which I love? This is so cute. Hang on. There's stuff in here.
It is. Simru is the Welsh name for Wales.
So this is another, we were wondering why it seemed like the set was incomplete. So here's another book for the James Herriot series. From the, where did you put the ones that he sent? The whole series. So thank you for that. That's the whole, that completes it.
No, that's why he's having to play the song. It says,
I know.
And the Lord God made them all.
Okay, so we have here a postcard, and it's all in Welsh. Like, they don't speak any kind of English there. Like, you'd say that in the UK it's part of, like, speaking English. It's not. I don't even know. I have something that I want to mail to Barry, and I'm terrified it's not going to get there because he doesn't have a house number. He has the name of his house. It's literally, I'm like, it's just the name of his house. So it says Sir Gerfriden, Bethlehem, Carmarthenshire.
That's
and it's got the old bridge, the Capel, Bethel, Pontbrind, Erith Chapel, and another chapel. So there's 3 chapels there in those pictures on the postcard.
All things bright and beautiful, all creatures great and small, all things wise and wonderful, the Lord God made them all.
Amen. So he says the history of the hymn and its meaning with a rendition. He's got a link to that. This hymn is the inspiration for the James Herriot books. He says, I live near a Bethlehem village that has a postmark of Bethlehem at Christmas. Oh, that's super fun. So here, you want to open the card?
Okay.
You even left it in the plastic, which I love. So I love this bag. This is super nice and super fun. It's like a bag. Like we can use that. It's sturdy. It's lined.
Oh, you put the stamp on it.
So, Brecon Beacons National Park, the Black
There's 2
Mountains,
here.
7,000 years of history.
This one is specific to you. Here you go.
Oh, that's fun. Well, that's really pretty. So, I'm guessing that's in Welsh because it's not
a
English.
happy birthday card.
Is this a happy birthday card? Hey, Michelle. Bit late, but just a little card wishing you a belated birthday. The little Bethlehem stamp isn't really relevant on this card's envelope, but as I was sending this card in the Christmas package, I couldn't resist getting it on this card either. All the best, Barry. Thank you, Barry.
Happy Christmas. Tell me how to pronounce this. Maybe Google. Can you Google?
Nadolig-Lawin. That's really cool.
Oh my, here we go. I know you're watching the new series of All Creatures Great and Small at the moment, so hopefully you'll enjoy these books I've sent. It's the full set of stories by the real James Herriot, who was an actual farm vet in the 1930s, Yorkshire, Dales in England, who then effectively wrote his blog through a life biographical through his stories. The other booklet I've sent is about the history of the Black Mountain in Benue National Park. I don't know how to say that. Sorry, Barry. National Park. And how is it? Park.
Dating
back over 7,000 years and tells you how the Welsh people used to live on this mountainous area of the UK.
Oh, wow.
I would have got 2 Bethlehem notebooks, but they actually ran out of stock and I got the last one. So I'll get another one next year. As this is only a yearly thing they do each Christmas. Hope all goes well for you over Christmas and New Year, and good luck with the new business venture. Also, thanks for your entertaining news story online. Best wishes, Barry, a.k.a. Britt Baja. As you know, I actually live near a little town called Bethlehem, but not the town everyone knows about in Jerusalem. This one is in West Wales and near the Benu Brai Shinog National Park, or Brecon Beacons National Park. But I thought you might like a Bethlehem stamp postmark, which is offered by this gorgeous little Welsh town.
I love that. Okay, so this booklet is actually really awesome, and it's written in both Welsh and in English.
Oh, wow.
Because like a parallel Bible, you know, for the people of the community that actually speak the non-English language there that they have. So I'm going to read a little part of this. This booklet celebrates the cultural heritage of the Black Mountain, an upland area of common land at the western end of the Brecon Beacons National Park.
Land.
It is a product of the 3-year Methrin Minded project carried out in the area by a number of organizations working with the National Park Authority to research new ways of common land management. The Methrin Minded, which means nurture the mountain, was one of the number of EU-funded life programs looking at uplands across Europe. A grazier's survey and report on flora and fauna, geology, caves, and archaeology, social and cultural history, recreation, and landscape assessment were produced and can be consulted at the offices there.
Let's show them some pictures.
So it's kind of hard to see that, like, it's a wide swath of land, and like this on the cover there, I think does a pretty good depiction of showing you what all of Wales looks like, really, literally just like
so
that.
Beautiful.
So the boundaries. When did the sharp division so obvious today between enclosed and open land come about? Where early deeds and estate maps survive, it can be seen that the mountain ditch, a substantial boundary bank, was being fixed in its present position in some areas as early as the 1600s. Careful study of place names and field work can help place early boundaries where documents are lacking. As we see, there has been both encroachment and retreat over the mountain conditioned pressure by pressure on farming land and the possibilities of making a living, however meager.
Open land, common land means it's not open and you can just go and visit and hike.
You can all walk
it.
all the lands. Right here it
Sheep
says
walks.
disused sheepfold.
Oh, and read that
near the headwaters.
Read that about
Hang on, let me show them the picture.
The sheep walks.
There.
It says, today the upland pastures of the Black Mountain and Peleg are mainly used as summer pastures for sheep. 7 Local Grazers Association represents the farmers using the mountain. The Methrin Minad project survey showed that the majority of farmers with rights of common placed over 3/4 of their stock on the mountain for summer grazing. West Mountain sheep tend to keep their own grazing area. Aro Shafa in Welsh. Gathering the sheep and sorting and separating the flocks needs less labor today now that the shepherd has an all-terrain motorbike. New and rebuilt sheepfolds have replaced the many isolated ruined sheepfolds across the mountain. So it's a common area, and many people just keep their sheep there.
Barry, I think it's awesome. You can just see this again, beautiful picture there. Wales is absolutely gorgeous. I'm so happy for you that you live there and you are enjoying your time there. I think that's amazing. So thank you for this. This will be a fun read to have. And last but not least, he has sent a gigantic box of chocolates.
Oh, my Barry. What have you done?
Mynd is pronounced Munith, but means mountain in Welsh. Munith. So there's nothing phonetic about the way that anything is spelled.
I love hiking maps. And here's
oh
the
my,
hiking map.
What is this? Gaelian Belgian Deluxe. Is this a standard chocolate?
It looks like it's a share with your neighbors kind of container.
This is very large, Barry, that you have shipped all the way from the UK. These chocolates.
Barry, how many of these hiking trails have you taken, and do people like? How long are they? Are they ones that you backpack and camp along the way?
So some have stayed in their places and some have not stayed in their little spots.
They're little horseshoes or seahorses.
I'm gonna show the. Hang on.
Little seahorses.
Oh wow!
What's the ones in the containers?
I don't know. I'm gonna show.
Oh, these are the dark chocolate ones. Oh.
Oh wow.
So, dark.
This is really good. It's caramel.
And then these are like the mixed ones.
Thank you, Barry, for the chocolate and the cards and the book set and the postcard and the notebook.
So
in the bag.
A dark chocolate seashell is what I need today.
Does it have a filling in it?
Yes.
Oh, dark chocolate's my favorite. But even this milk chocolate's really good.
Oh wow. That's something else. That's something else.
I always feel terrible eating on air in front of you guys, especially chocolates from another country.
Oh wow.
When it's so good.
Oh wow.
Whatever. Whoa.
That is really smooth chocolate.
Whoa.
Wow.
Whatever this, what's it called? Guylian?
Wow.
Chocolate is. That is out of this world. That is so good. Oh my gosh.
That's like winning the lottery chocolate.
Leah.
Holy smokes.
How about this? How about I be like a parent for you? And I release one piece of chocolate for you a day.
I have a problem. I really can't eat chocolate very much.
Hello, my name is Leah.
But I really, 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 really like dark chocolate.
You're the person, like my mom's best friend Janet, that could eat just like a thing of brownies and that would be your meal for the day.
Mm-hmm.
That's Leah. So we have to be careful with Leah because she's got a problem.
Yeah.
He says, I'm always out on the mountains.
It stops up the plumbing.
They vary in length and difficulty. Chris says, God provided a way for me to be able to buy Amish tinctures for the first time yesterday.
fun.
I'm so grateful for every breath of life he is giving us and for the way he weaves goodness into our lives.
What I love is the wild ponies.
Wicked Psych says, we can enjoy it too. I can smell it and taste it just by watching. That's the calorie smart way of doing it. Lee and I are getting the calories.
Yeah.
You are not. He says, Guylian is a luxuriant Belgian chocolate.
Cattle on
Sherry
the mountain.
says, you don't look like you feel guilty for eating it. LOL. Thanks, Sherry.
Brindled cow, white speckled, spotted cow, bold freckled, the forefield sward molted, the old white face, the grey genning, with the white bull from the court of the king, and the little black calf, though suspended on the hook, come thou also quite well home. The lady of the lake calls her cattle back across the mountain.
Patriot Gallery looked it up. It's pronounced Gillian.
Thank you. Gillian.
Gillian. Okay, so thank you, Barry. This was super fun to open on our World News program. I'm sorry we didn't have all the packages at the same time.
Oh, it was so fun, though, actually.
So, news.
Oh, were you playing the news?
I'm going to change it today. If you live in the UK, previously,
oh, wow,
we were not able to ship.
That's like a coffee one?
Yeah, we were not able to ship from the Resistance Chick store to you. I have now made it so that you can make purchases from the UK and we can ship to you. I have figured out how to do that. So very exciting. Shop.resistancechicks.com. Right now, the shipping is astronomical because I wasn't sure how much it was going to actually cost to ship things. So I'm going to change that later this afternoon. But if you do live in the UK and you want to purchase items from our shop, you can now do that.
That you can ship an entire Oil of Joy collection for,
I think it's just like $30.
Okay.
So that's what I'm going to set it at. And we're going to see how it goes.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Are you just going to set that for all international things and then all of a sudden, like in some remote village of the world, and it's like $150?
Well, no, because right now I've only opened it up to shipping to the UK.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So, there you are. Britt Bozza says, glad you like the chocolates. LOL, they are luxury chocolates. I know, I'm getting that.
There's a little nut inside here.
Now, Patriot Gallery wanted me to do a recording, so I did. This has probably gotten even worse. since I went up there. But this has all happened while we were doing our show.
Major
all
winter
of that
storm.
snow. So this is like how many? Let me play it again. Mom says it's 6 inches. We have not gotten 6 inches yet. Right now it looks like it's about 4 out there. But that's our back deck.
Mom, are we taking our walk?
So we usually take a walk after the show.
We gotta get going if we're gonna do this. Major winter storm begins dumping snow, disrupting travel in the United States.
I don't want to keep eating this chocolate, but it's sitting right here.
Close
what am I supposed
the
to do?
box.
What am I supposed to do? I'm trapped.
Snow falls up to 15 inches or more in some areas.
I'm trapped with chocolate on my lap, and it's putting itself in my mouth.
A band of 8 to 14 inches of snow is expected to be dumped from northeast Missouri through the central Appalachians. Don't travel, don't go anywhere. And on top of that, usually in Ohio, particularly, you know what? Let's just play a forecast for them so they know what's going to be happening. And then we got to go.
And Sherry says that's what she was driving in earlier on her way home.
You guys, I don't even want to see these temperatures.
Where do you want me to go?
The WKRC weather. You're going to see our weather. This is local news. This is what we are going to be experiencing soon, and this will be across the country here.
Let me play this one.
Look at those temperatures. A low of 0 and 4. Yeah, here we go.
Good morning, Cincinnati.
Good
It
morning.
is 8:47. And
No,
the
stop.
visibility, not so great. Already back out
What's
to
the
the
last
west of
one?
us where the snow is flying. We're sitting here at 10 miles right now, and they can only see about 3/4 of a mile in front of their face in Louisville, less than that in Evansville. These are places where the snow has gotten going already this morning, where it looks like this. That's the view from Louisville. Just a little down the Ohio River. If you look real close there, can you even see that? That's a bridge. I think that's I-64. Going over the Ohio in Louisville. So you can see it's accumulating and it's flying around in the air right now back out to the west of us. So we're keeping an eye on that with both cameras and obviously Precision Doppler 12 HD. Pretty good batch of snow just about to come in. The next 24 hours, it's going to go to about there into eastern Tennessee. Once it gets off to the east of us, it will, well, first thing, an accumulation, nasty morning. Amounts are possible, especially with that snow
that's us. We're in the 6 to 10
into the morning on Monday. The total
That's a lot of snow,
overall
guys.
snow
We don't
in
usually get
different
that.
reasons across.
That's a heck of snow. Oh,
Are you going to play what you just played there? Because that's awful.
I am.
Is
you
it
guys.
happening right now?
That is happening right now. This is, yeah. It's big news, actually. Mom, we don't need to take a walk today. We can just exercise inside.
Tonight, a brutal winter system wreaking havoc and stunning video of a jackknifing and
Jesus, save them. Take the wheel. Jesus, Jesus.
Coated with freezing rain. Facebook video showing another semi already off the road. And watch as this black SUV
He just didn't
slides
know.
across a median.
They just didn't know.
It says watch for ice on bridge.
No!
By mid-afternoon, Kansas authorities clocked close to 50 crashes, nearly half with injuries. Troopers pleading with people to stay off the roads.
Ooh.
Watch my feet here. Ready for this?
Whoa!
That's what we're dealing with out here.
You cannot
The
drive in
mayhem
that.
caused by a monster winter system already slamming Utah and South Dakota and now barreling east. Tonight, 57 million Americans are under winter storm
57
alerts
million
as parts of the
Americans.
Midwest brace for up to 16
Up to
inches of
16
snow
inches of
and
snow. We're in the
temperatures 25
purple.
degrees below average. By Monday, the system set to slam the East Coast, including upstate New York, already buried by lake effect snow.
Oh, wow.
In Kansas City, people are stocking up on shovels and supplies.
We got a new shovel last year, I think.
This as Missouri's Department of Transportation calls this their biggest storm in nearly a decade.
What's that like to go to bed tonight expecting that tomorrow?
I don't know if I'll be doing much sleep tonight.
Snow, my God, is the quote of the night, Maggie, in Kansas City right now. And the icy conditions there, I know, caused problems for the Kansas City Chiefs trying to get to their game.
Yeah, Kate, that's right. The Chiefs couldn't take off for Denver to play the Broncos tomorrow because the airport was shut down. But good news tonight, just in the last hour, city officials tweeted those runways are back open. Kate.
Maggie Vespa, thank you. Let's get right to NBC News meteorologist Angie Lassman. Angie, this is just the beginning of some potentially dangerous weather.
We've got multiple days of this winter storm, Kate, and multiple impacts. Right now, we see some of those snow showers over parts of the Central Plains. But as we get into the overnight hours, that snow, that rain, the freezing rain, all going to expand. We'll even see these blizzard-like conditions continuing with 40-mile-per-hour winds across parts of the Central Plains. Tomorrow, it's a line of thunderstorms with the potential for strong winds and tornadoes. We'll also see parts of I-70, St. Louis, Cincinnati, dealing with that heavy snow and more of that ice accumulation across that same region. By Monday, this works to the mid-Atlantic. We'll see significant snow and ice in that region as well. The accumulation's impressive in some spots, up to 3/4 of an inch for localized amounts south of I-70, but the heaviest snow sticks right along I-70, 8 to 14 inches possible when this is all said and done in Kansas City, Kate. Multiple inches in Washington, D.C. too.
We haven't had this in a couple years.
Thank you for that.
Thanks for watching. Stay
we have not
updated
had
about
a big shoveler in a couple years, I'll tell you that.
It's been more than a couple. It's been like 8. I can't remember the last time we had a big shoveler.
So I remember shoveling like 3 inches last year a couple times, but
that was it.
But I wouldn't have needed to because it melted.
It did. Like we have not had snow. So here's the good news for anybody that cares about Leah and Michelle. I'm caring for other people out there that have things that they need to do. We don't even have to work tomorrow.
No, we don't have anywhere we have to be.
We don't have anywhere we have to be.
We were going to have Uncle Jack's knee surgery tomorrow.
Right.
And it was going to be a whole week of lots of stuff, and God canceled that.
Exactly. So I think that now we know why Uncle Jack's knee surgery got canceled. Always follow Holy Spirit.
Could you imagine?
No, we would have said we're not going.
Yeah, we would have.
We'd have just been like canceling, not coming in. You would have been at like stress level 1,000,000.
I would have days beforehand because I would have been thinking about it and praying about it.
Should we cancel? Should we not cancel? Yeah. Whatever. So the Lord will lead if you will let him. So you know where he wants to lead you.
We're going to take a snow walk?
Shop.resistancechicks.com.
Oh, yeah.
Shop.resistancechicks.com.
What else can you do on an icy, snowy day?
You can go and get your healing oil for the soul.
And your deodorant.
You can get your deodorant.
So you can smell good when you're
shoveling that snow. And you want to get your body butter because you get awful itchy.
You do.
You get awful itchy this time of year. And that's one of the reasons why I even invented this body butter, by the way. And for those...
And I believe... We are ready to do more soap in about a week. So if you get your orders in.
Yes. So we were kind of feeling a little bit squished on the soap.
Takes a while
and
to
so
cure.
We're back. So if anybody still needs your soap, speaking of this soap though, and your skin, this is a moisturizing soap.
Yeah.
It does not leave your skin feeling dry and itchy and flaky.
Do you want to go get one? We made them a little bit even bigger.
We did make them a little bit bigger.
In case
in case that wasn't big enough.
So in case these bars weren't big enough, and then Matt's like, everybody wants smaller bars, but Michelle's like, I want. So even the beach size bar, we made them just a little bit bigger.
Oh my gosh, they're so big.
So these are huge. Oh my! Look at the size of this soap. Oh my! So these are way bigger.
We're calling them. The giant bar for a reason.
Yeah.
This one has a little piece of tape still stuck on it. We're calling them the giant bar. So you're getting your money's worth.
So she made them bigger than our giant bar before.
Oh yeah, it's much bigger. You can't tell in that picture, but it's ridiculously bigger.
It is ridiculous.
Stuart the Brit says, "What does soap do then?" Stuart, is that a joke? Oh my gosh.
So we made our
soap
giant
is for
bars.
cleansing, for cleaning. It has oatmeal and lavender inside.
This is like a year-long bar.
It will last you forever. Shop.resistancechicks.com. Come and support Resistance Chicks. And
I love the way they smell.
The deodorant will smell great. The tooth salt, which I don't have down here. And if for some reason you're some sort of weirdo out there and you have an issue with the fact that my body butter is made from lard, we have a beef tallow option for you. So you can make that an option. So we're super excited. We're going to be launching a new tooth salt.
A new tooth powder.
New tooth powder coming
Extra
up.
minty. It's going to have the xylitol in it. It's going to be a little bit like a sweet toothpaste, but xylitol is really good for your teeth as well. So
Yes.
I've got that going.
And a new improved formula for your other regular
toothpaste. Every tooth salt going out from here on out, we need to change the website. It's going to have 2 new ingredients: calcium carbonate, calcium phosphate for remineralization. Those were the basis of the ingredients for the new tooth salt I'm making that might be a little more kid friendly.
Mindy on YouTube
and extra
says,
minty.
my husband is from New York and he laughs at our snowfall. He says, the Lord will lead you if you let him. That's a whole word. She says, it washes us clean. Amen. That's what soap does. And so does the word of God. So we need to come out with a soap that's called the word of God. It washes you clean. You know what I'm saying? Or is that just the blood of Jesus? I don't know. I like this one though. So shop.resistancechicks.com. If you want to make an order, I will make sure that it gets out to you as soon as possible. And you know what? I've got some that are going out tomorrow. And I'm not going to the post office. I have made a decision that I'm going to wait for the post person to come.
Well, they do come.
And I'm going to walk out the last of my Christmas cards and the 4 packages that I have that need to go out. So they're going out tomorrow because we do all of our postage at home.
Keep a little.
And I'm going to trudge out there and and maybe I'll give her a cookie or something.
A bar of
like
soap.
as a thank you, like a bar of soap as a thank you.
Yeah.
For taking my packages. So shop.resistancechicks.com. And we have other products that are going to be coming out soon, which I'm really excited about. But thank you guys for being here. Thank you for all of your support, for everybody that donates every month. You guys mean the world to us. If you do want to donate, you can click the subscribe button on Rumble for $5 a month, or you can go to our PayPal. That's on resistancechicks.com. I think you can also donate.
Patriot Gallery did a blog last night.
Oh, yeah. So Patriot Gallery did a blog.
You guys,
Speaking of money.
She hasn't done one in like...
Girls talking about silver
8
squeeze.
months.
It was so good.
It's so good.
You do not want to miss it. It's available on YouTube and Rumble. I don't know if she's uploaded it anywhere else yet. Has she?
Yeah, I couldn't find it on Rumble earlier. Let me recheck here.
But it will be in our email that I'll be doing later this week. So I'll make sure that that's out there. We've done some farm updates. Actually, we've done a lot of extra videos. Amos Miller, the Amish farmer, has been...
He won his case.
He won his case. Now, someone left a comment that said that
there it is. Yeah. Silver Squeeze 2021 to 2025 update. It takes 5 years. Please, you guys, it's a great...
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I like my show. You like our show. I'm glad you watch our show. If you want a mom's soothing voice to teach you something that is filled with the power of God, listen to my mom's video. I do, and they just bless me so much.
So good. So, Leah, someone had left a comment, and I don't know if you can confirm this, whether you know for a fact right off the bat. Someone had said that Amos only won the ability to sell out of state and not in his own state to his neighbors.
No. He can in his own state. What I think he was talking about. It's so they raided him in early last year for selling raw milk, organic eggs, grass-fed beef, and other items. And the USDA tried to bring Miller's farm into compliance with federal regulations. So obtaining a license to produce raw milk for sale. And I believe, I'm not sure what all actually, but I know he's won against the USDA for now.
That's awesome.
So it's, from what I understand, it's the state wasn't coming after him. It was the feds coming after him, the USDA, because he was crossing state lines with food.
Yeah.
And that's what Thomas Massey's Prime Act is supposed to be about, crossing meat, because technically you're not supposed to go buy meat in Indiana and bring it to Ohio. So stupid.
You know what I would love to do if we...
And he has won at the federal level, which is huge, that he can sell his stuff across state lines.
So we could technically do a show tomorrow night.
And we should. And I think,
I think just do like a show just on this.
Yeah, I think he's an outlier. Let's do it.
Yeah, so... All right, we're going to see you guys tomorrow night at some point, probably around 8 o'clock, and we'll do a special show on just Amos Miller and him having won his case, which is absolutely huge. So we'll see you guys tomorrow night. And then, of course, on Tuesday and Wednesday, we'll probably be doing our regular shows those evenings. The girls will be back here on Thursday for the Revolutionary Revivalist, and then Friday. So jam-packed week full of stuff. I hope you guys have a wonderful and blessed, happy New Year and lead off into 2025, where God is going to bring his body of Christ alive. So we'll see you next time right here from resistancechicks.com. Remember, it's not just a conspiracy theory if it's actually the truth. Take care. God bless.